What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Binge with Lee. Back with Talk with Lee, episode 8. Believe it or not, it's been so long. I know.
Wait,
It's
when
a
did we
lot.
when did we skip two? You were counting
As you can
down.
see,
You
we
went
have
three.
Downey. I know it's a big number,
Sorry,
Downey. It's okay. I know it's very difficult to count to. I
I took
struggle
my
with it
socks
sometimes.
off.
Downey, ladies and gentlemen. You may know him as the bald streamer, the bald guy, bald man. He does tech. Only slightly. He knows very, he might know how to, I don't know, plug your computer in. Uh,
Turn it off and on again.
may that's pretty advanced. It's pretty advanced. Aside from that though,
Therapy bastard on the internet.
he doesn't know anything else. Also, a streamer. What? A streamer? We never had that on Talk with Lee ever. No, never happened. Downey, ladies and
Slash has
gentlemen,
got a
how
super
are you,
shiny
Downey?
head.
How you doing?
Doing okay. Happy it's Friday. That's for sure.
Good, good. Did anything fun today? Did anything amazing? Anything noteworthy?
I didn't commit murder, so that's always a good day.
At least
I
one
didn't
of
even
us.
have attempted murder. So
One of us ain't having
um,
fun today. I mean, well,
I
ladies and
mean,
gentlemen, if you don't know Talk with Lee, let me just brief you. There's a message that's pinned. Chat interactions might be more limited than usual. Alerts are off, except for one, where you can redeem points to ask questions to this guy right here. Not me, this guy. And I'll read the questions to
okay.
you, and he will answer them
No,
honestly.
this way.
We do have an arbiter right there, and we did
Mhm.
swear him in. So any lies he may say or tell today are legally bound. So he could go to jail for this. I don't know.
Mhm.
So Downey, fill us in. If I were to describe you to someone that doesn't know you, they're familiar with Twitch, they watch streamers, but who's Downey? What does he do? Why does he do what he does? What is it that he does? Why does he do the
Okay.
things he does, and why does he do them, and when does he do them?
We already established that I had trouble counting down from 3, and you just asked me like 13 questions in one question.
It's one question, Downey. It's one question
It's
with like
one.
part A, part B, part C. You know.
Well, logic is logic. I am me. Me am I.
There you go.
Next question.
Next question. Why? Why?
Because. Next question. No. Well, first off, it's fun messing with people is kind of a fun thing. But the main reason I got into streaming was to just provide entertainment. My whole life, I've kind of been that person. I've liked to provide entertainment, a laugh, get people out of the ordinary day, the mundane drudge through life, depression, just anger, rage, stupidity, and other things that don't matter. So I would do dumb things to make my family laugh, to help them get out of whatever mood they were in. They were sad, there was a loss, anything like that. I would be like kind of not necessarily the class clown. It was the opposite at school, but at home I was always kind of the entertainer, the peacemaker. Talk both sides, do whatever I can. And so I kind of I started streaming at the beginning of COVID when a lot of the disconnects were, when you couldn't see everybody as often. And I used that as a platform to allow my family to interact with both me and each other. So they'd interact in chat. And then we started having family game nights and things with brothers, sisters, and even would have Nana join, who's my mom, and I'd have Vonster join occasionally, who's my dad. And then he then would join as my stepdad. He actually joined on stream one time for a puzzle stream. And so then it just kind of grew from that, and then met a lot of really cool people, made some family through the platform. But to describe me to people on the interwebs is a derpy guy who likes to talk a lot and attempt to game poorly.
Poorly.
Mhm.
I feel like you're not giving yourself enough credit.
Yeah.
Just a
I
little
mean,
bit.
I only broke a controller playing Lies of P.
Stop it. Nothing happened with me. Moving on. Anyways, he bought me Lies of P, and I was really excited to play it because I love my Souls games, and I wanted to branch into the Souls like genre because that's something I'm not too familiar with versus like the mainline, Dark Souls. My favorite being Sekiro, Bloodborne, Elden Ring. So Lies of P, cool. I thought the game was easy at the beginning. I was like, oh, this one definitely one of the easier. And honestly, even after everything that's happened, all things considered, I feel now that I played more Souls likes, it is definitely one of the more easier Souls likes. It's not easy. It's just one of the easier ones out of a
Hmm.
mess of difficult
Easier
games.
entry level.
Exactly. I would say like now I used to recommend people. I'm not even lying. I used to recommend people Bloodborne to start off with. I thought it was a good entry point because that's the first one I ever played out of the entire saga. Like all the Soulsborne games was the first one I played, and I thought that's what got me hooked. Um, uh, Thank you, CJ. I
Thanks,
did.
CJ.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention CJ. While we were on starting soon, gifted 5 and then 1 and now 1. That's
Don't worry, I
a
took my toes off.
lot.
That's
A
11.
lot. Ooh, 11, 7. He gifted 7. Thank you, CJ. I appreciate you. That's awesome. I again, you're probably
I
like
do want to make
honestly at
sure I
this
go back to
point,
Commodore's question.
if I had the global settings, you'd be like number 1 in terms of gifted subs. Anyways, Liza P, I think is a good entry level now that I'd recommend it. But I Downey broke my monitor. He broke it because he bought me the game and then
Did
I threw the controller and I tried
Which
to
boss did you throw the controller at again?
the
It was
swamp
that.
boss.
Oh, look.
It was the swamp
Is
boss.
there's the super slow, easy swamp boss that turns
Thank you,
into the
Thumper,
third
for the gift
boss.
sub. I appreciate you. Um,
Yeah.
uh, it was a swamp boss. It was in the second act. It was the swamp boss. I was throwing. It was this controller right here. I actually still have it. It was this controller right here.
Oh yeah,
Um,
your super nice Spider-Man Marvel
yeah,
thing.
like $95 with tax. I love it, but in that moment, I really wanted to throw it and break it. And PS5 controls have good springs on them, maybe too good, and it bounced off and it went straight into the monitor. 240 hertz monitor. Don't worry about it. Definitely not expensive. Definitely didn't have any sentimental value. It definitely wasn't the first monitor I ever bought. So I can't bring myself to throw it away. Um,
Hmm.
but I did want to ask, just to go back on you, because you're the focus.
Yeah,
I did
the
want to go
yeah.
back.
I'm sure I missed a few parts of your question.
No, it's all good. That was more like a joke the way I phrased it, but let's take it step by
Hmm.
step.
Hmm.
From the reason when you said why and what you do, it seems, and for those who know Downey, it's not a surprise. It's very family oriented, which
Hmm.
is both common but also scary, especially in an online sphere. Let's. I want to ask the scary part, but I want to push that to the side for a second.
Okay.
How do
You know how
you
hard it is for me.
manage?
You're doing the ADHD test thing of when you have the tape and the scissors and the paper. Okay, you have scissors, you have paper. All right, all right. Pick up the scissors. Okay, start cutting. Don't cut the paper yet. Shit. Okay,
Don't worry,
okay. You have
I'll
tape.
keep you on track. I'll keep you on track. I
Don't.
promise.
Okay, fix it. Don't use the tape yet. You'll use it later. And you're like, okay, we're gonna talk about this. So I start prepping for that,
Yeah.
but we'll do that later. So you're trying to get me off.
Here's
I
what
see
I'll
what you're
do.
doing,
Here's what I'll do.
Mister Talk Show.
I'll do this. We're gonna talk about how you manage family life, work, and a stream schedule that I will say out of most streamers, including myself, because I just started having a stream schedule and I'm still struggling keeping it up. I'm even toning it down for not nothing bad, just to do more stuff
Mhm.
IRL. But how do you manage that? Because considerably, you stay on schedule. You very rarely break set schedule. So where's that
Mhm.
balance? And you do like Downey does work in IT, and it does take up a lot of your time. It's not an easy job. It's definitely time consuming off the clock as well. You get calls, so and people have
Mhm.
seen that on stream. So how do you time manage?
Well, you don't sleep. But well, that is very true. Crippling guilt whenever I reschedule.
Yeah.
Whenever I do have to cancel, it does hurt. Like it takes a lot for me to be like, if I'm not going to be in the right headspace or health wise or anything else comes up, I'll cancel, but I always try and make it up. I'll
Hmm.
do a makeup stream or I'll do a longer stream or I'll do some sort of a crazy redemption to make it up for those that kind of have relied on that space to go on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday if I have to cancel for some reason. But with my work schedule, Um, Streaming for me is my mental health break. So it is a self-care piece. So it is very important that I maintain that, because when I cancel streams or if I miss that, I can easily tell that it affects my mood the next day, because I didn't have
Mm.
that kind of outlet. I didn't get that interaction. I didn't get to goof off and let the me that I can't show in a professional environment, because it's frowned upon to have a fucking sense of humor. Um, I get to just be me and talk about things. And so it's very important. However, if you notice, my start times are always later after the kids are going to bed. So I'll work, and then after work is family time, where we have our family dinners, we do our family activities, um, and then I'll get the kids to bed. Jaeger usually has something going on, or she'll be going to bed too on school nights because she has to get up early in the morning. And then after that is when I come down and stream. So if I'm ever late, it's because there's usually something with the family going on, or the kids wanted cuddles and they're still in the cuddle phase. So you never turn those down. And so
You
then
only
that
get so
happens.
much time
Mm-hmm.
before they grow up and start going, leave me alone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Don't talk to me. Okay. Night. Can I have a kiss goodnight? No. Oh, okay. But, um, yeah, and so then that's why I used to do, there was a time where I did too many days. I was streaming, I was online 5 to 6 nights a week, because I'd have my schedule. Plus then I'd be
Jesus.
streaming with Jaeger, or streaming over with Kate and Phil, or with Dano, or, other like friends of the family, like kind of channels. And so I'd be on Twitch so many nights during the week, and then there'd be no time for anybody else. And then so it's like, okay, it was a fun run. It was a big push. It was a sprint pretty much of just constantly being on, and then just not being able to. Sometimes you need to just veg. You need that just kind of mind melting nothingness to recharge, because you can only go, 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 which is my normal speed, is go until my body says stop.
Which is very destructive or very rewarding,
It's
depending on the
extremely
activity.
productive yet destructive.
Exactly, yeah.
You get a lot done, but then you're out of commission for a few days.
Both mentally and physically.
Mm-hmm. So I
Well,
think that's
go ahead.
kind of answers it, I
Yeah, it
think.
does answer it. It does answer it. It basically, what the gist of it is, you find it's not much of a, oh my god, this is something I need to do, so here's a time slot or here's a sacrifice. It's more like, yes, this is something I need to do, but it's not work. It's not a responsibility. Or you can view it as such because, like you said, there's people that rely on that time. It's their getaway time. It's their entertainment. It's their escapism. You're their movie. You're their show. You're their Sunday night live. Right? That's what you are. So yes, there is that part, but at the same time, it's your therapy. So it's important not to skip
Mhm.
out on that. It's a routine now. It's not a thing where you're like, oh, I can give or take it, right? Which a lot of people don't. I still struggle with that, and I don't have kids, so I definitely commend you on that. But how do you ever get fears about having your family so exposed online? Because like they're not like, again, you don't, which I respect you for. You don't really like, here's my kids right here. Everyone say hi, right? Which is
Nope.
very smart. Um, but you are definitely more, open to everybody than the average family is. Uh,
Mhm.
how do you ever get fears on that? I'm sure you do,
Yes.
but like, what word? I guess the better question is, what are those fears?
There's some fears, but a lot of it is I do a lot to protect me and my family.
Hmm.
So we will talk about the Krakens. We occasionally slip up on certain times, because you get heat of the moment, you yell something, etc.
Hmm.
But for the most part, the majority of the community will never see, meet, or talk to our kids
Hmm.
until they're older. There are certain members of the community that, yes, they have met the kids, and the kids are also a judge of character, because kids have no filter. They can sense auras
Hmm.
pretty easily most of the time. Um, and so we do meet. Some people do get to meet the kids when it's kind of an easier thing, but for the most part, we try and keep the kids off camera, away from everybody. Um, and then Uncle Slash will beat up anybody that messes with him. Um, yeah, that's just kind of it's a fear, but at the same time, I know I've got them protected because I've got all the technology in place to filter their internet to stop them from doing that. We don't focus on screen time. We make sure we're having our outdoor activity, our family bike rides, family board games, D&D sessions. We have family events that we do together that don't require the internet. Now they have access to the internet. They do play video games. Like right now, they're playing Ori, or no, not Ori, Kenna. They're going through Kenna.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, we've got, family game. They have a game pass, but it's limited to certain ages. They get to play some other games sometimes with me or with her. But for the most part, they're very shielded from the internet. There's a few punctures in that shield. At first, it was a very like 10 feet of solid steel wall between the internet and them. And we've slowly let, you have to have kids to fill a party, all right? And you got to teach one of them to be a healer. But slowly I realized that it's kind of not so much selfish because my kids are wonderful and I would love to share them with more people, but there's also bad actors.
Of course.
And so that's why the benefit that of sharing that with people is also has to be tempered for that protection piece. So there's more things I would love to have the kids do. I'd love to have little like green screen redeems and stuff like that. There's a few ideas in the works that might involve them that you just don't know they're there and things along those lines. But for the most part, I try and keep them off camera. They won't ever be on camera just because my bigger fear is mine when it comes to being on camera and having so much footage available because of the way the AI world works now.
Yeah,
That's a larger fear.
The scary thing to me is the bad actors, and not necessarily the concept of it. It's more so bad actors come in so many different ways. Take I'm gonna use Gus as an example, right? Not saying Gus is a bad actor or anything, but somebody like Gus, you've known, you trust. They may have met the kids at one point, right? And then out of nowhere, there's this one. You can never know everything about somebody,
Mhm.
and out of nowhere, you get into an argument, it gets heated, and then all of a sudden, they're not the same person you thought they were. And oh my God, now hold up, they know my kids, they know their names, they know where I live. It's if this person is crazy enough or if they're upset enough with me, it's game over. And
Mhm.
that's what scares me about bad actors because no matter how close, I keep a shield. I keep a shield. Even with the people I meet in real
Mhm.
life, even the people that I know specifically in real life. And it might not be the healthiest thing, but at the same time, you never know people's true intentions.
Mhm.
I'll use this quick example. The promotion I got at work. Uh, there were some people, and I've talked to some of my friends at work, and they know who they are. Um, they're not necessarily my friends, but we're close. They're acquaintances, right? And I got the promotion, and I was open about mistake. In hindsight, I was open about what the
Mhm.
promotion was, how much I made, all that stuff, and
Mhm.
it went from congratulations in the first promotion a couple months ago to why, to how. Do you know the owner? What are you doing?
How'd you
And
skip the line?
exactly, because there are other people up for that spot, and at the same time, this is a far out idea, but what's to say this person isn't going to go into my office, put something there, somebody finds it. Oh, Binge is doing this in the office. My office doesn't have cameras.
Mhm.
That's what I mean. You never know.
That's good. But I mean, the thing is, a lot of times, if that's a concern that you feel that you'd be able to be framed for something like that, then
Mhm.
you're in the wrong culture.
Exactly.
That's not a place you want to work at.
Some of those people are because we hire. How do I say this? Because I don't want to give too much.
Yeah.
There's a
Let's
third
say,
party
just
company that
remember, that's
valetes.
that whole protection thing. Because a lot
Exactly.
of people know, like I said, they know I work in IT, but they don't know where or exactly
Or
what and things like that.
to what extent exactly. So I mean, I've been open about it on stream. I work at a dealership, and
Mhm.
we valet cars. What valeting cars at a dealership essentially means is we take cars from the customers, give them to the technicians, and take them back, give them to the customer. The valets are a third party company, so they're far removed from the dealership's culture. There's a solid line there, even though they work at the dealership. They can be sent to any dealership, and every dealership has its own culture, has its own, characters there. So they tend to be very different. And I was hired by this third party company before I eventually started working for a dealership. None of my issues are with the people that are at the dealership. It's the people at the third party company. And to be fair, a lot of them tend to be younger. Like you have to be minimum of 18, but a lot of them tend to be at that 18 line, much younger. Brain not fully developed. I've never felt this old in my life. Like I'm 23. I am not old, but at the same time, I didn't feel it until I started working here.
Lord.
I know, Donnie. It's okay. It's okay. I didn't
enjoy hair while you have it.
Damn it. Okay. Damn. Anyways, I actually shaved my head one time just so I can see. I'm not worried about not having hair. I'm worried about having.
You just want to know if you got a weird head, a weird shaped head.
And I confirmed it's not weird, so we're good. If I ever go bald, I'll just keep this. But well, you could throw me off with the hairline. I didn't feel that old. I was always up with the lingo, all that stuff, and then I go into work and then I talk to these seniors, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, I can't do this. I can't. How that's dude? It's only 5 years, but that separation is insane. More than oh my god, I've never felt it. Like it's horrible. It's horrible. I don't like it. It's okay though. I'm still not Downey's age. It's okay, Downey. You don't look a day over 25.
Yeah, but I've been smoking since I was 3.
It's okay.
That's why. That's why 25 looks like this.
You get that Frank Sinatra blues
smoker voice. It's fine.
No, you smoke just enough to not get the raspy voice, but just enough to get that, whiskey cigarette singing voice. Karaoke night, ladies and gentlemen, April 19th, 2026. We'll remember that. Don't worry about it.
No, I do owe a karaoke night still, so that's still on the cards. Karaoke will be a thing.
Well, Thumper just redeemed. She wants to ask the guest a question. So we'll just wait for her question.
Let's say, because Commodore did his earlier. So I did see that one.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
We're still around. I didn't know if I was supposed to call it out or not. So
it was the how are you? I think you already answered that, didn't you?
Yeah, but everybody's healthy-ish. Jaeger's almost back. She'll be back good tomorrow. The Krakens had a really good week. They had a fun art kind of thing today. And like I said, I didn't murder anybody today. Thought about possible ways of getting away with it, but no actual papers were signed or.
You know what? I don't know how people get away with murder today. I genuinely I can't conceive.
I've got a buddy that if anything happens to him or his wife, they're screwed. Whoever the survivor is screwed, whether they did it or not. Just from going through their phone history or something, they'd be totally caught.
Now, in the middle of nowhere, maybe, but in a city, let's say you live in a city, and you just commit a murder. How there's just
due to the statute of limitations, I cannot discuss this.
No, Downey, come on
at this time.
Downey, please. Thumper's question is, what has streaming strengthened for you
and your personality?
It's a good question.
It got me back in touch with the extrovert that I used to be for a while. I'm a very, very heavy introvert. I was a very heavy introvert, and then I adopted an even stronger introvert, which then made me become more of an extrovert. It is a very weird process. And then I started, we'd go out, do karaoke. We'd go to karaoke bars, meet a bunch of friends, close down bars, go to work, hungover on 2 hours of sleep, like that type of extrovert, dangerously so. And then I went back into started family. Family was everything. Didn't talk to much people. It was just me, Jaeger, and the kids. That was most of it. Streaming allowed me to kind of revisit and kind of resharpen my wit to some extent. And I'm still not back to where I used to be. Being able to rapid fire off with people and, jab for jab. Just, what friends do. Make fun of each other and try to be hurtful and see who lasts longer type of jab fest. And so it's given me that kind of that sharpening of helping me get a little bit of that back. Helping my improv skills kind of come back with being able to just make up random shit that makes no sense to anybody except those that know.
Or as Gus says, strengthening your humaning muscles. See, I learned. I learned. I pay attention.
All right. You, now show everybody your note cards, your flashcards that help you remember. Uh-huh.
It's on my phone.
Call me out. Damn it. Yeah, so it was.
Yeah, it's okay. It's at least you're. I knew it. I knew some of your communities were gonna be like,
Very confused. Yep. And it's
okay.
fine. And that's kind of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it definitely helped with that piece. It helped me feel entertaining again. Because to be honest, real little kids, they're not going to find you entertaining at all. Sometimes, and other times you're going to be hilarious. It's like, okay. And Jaeger's been stuck with me for so long that, but I'm still able to surprise her and make her laugh. So that's the most important thing. But that, and allowing me to kind of reconnect with family and have more family time and find new family. Like, it allowed me to kind of reach out and talk to people and kind of conceitedly give people relationship goals. Let people know that things can get to this level. You can be with somebody this long and still look at each other the way that we look at each other. Still, it helped spark our marriage back up. Because the marriage counseling is a real thing.
That's what I wanted to get to.
Off
one of the questions.
From a real thing.
Yeah. So I do have a list of questions, FYI. I just I'm not. This is for you and for.
It's not a structured thing.
It's not like I have to get to these questions. It's more so the conversation goes wherever it goes. And I love it because it's more natural that way. Because if I'm like, stop eating, or I'm like, stop, right? Let me ask. There's an itinerary. Let me ask this question. I know you were just talking about your depression. Downey, do you like Elder Scrolls? Right? It's stupid. I don't like that. By the way, that baguette, if you were ever part of the CNRs at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, you would know. If you aren't, tough luck, my friend. I'm not explaining that. And he went to Kroger and bought that just for the joke. Dedication. Although, to be fair, I did buy the baguette and drove it all the way to you. So
that was, you could frame me for stealing it.
True. And it worked. Thief.
Yeah, that's pretty much, in a nutshell, a short story long how it's helped my personality.
Come on, Downey. God.
Nope.
No, I don't like that. Fix it.
Because I could have answered it in 3 words, and instead I answered it in 6.
I don't like that. What really attracted me to your channel when I first saw you guys, and keep in mind, I literally met you through just a recommendation, not through a viewer or anything, just on the Twitch tab. One of the better things that have happened on the Twitch tab. And it wasn't the effect. Well, I will say the effects really did have a part to do with it, because one of the most impressive streamers that I know personally. It's insane. The effects that happen in the background, it really opened my eyes to what you can do with free redemptions. It's pretty good. It's pretty cool. I like it. The lights, the fog machine, which I know it's a bitch to clean. The lighting in front of your face, all the different effects you do, it's insane. It's insane. It's okay, Donnie. You can take a compliment. It's all right. Impressive. Can't even get his pixels to line up proper. Damn.
Saw nothing. I don't know what she's talking about.
But aside from that, it was the fact that you were playing video games on stream, and you were playing lots of P at the time too, with Jaeger, your wife, who also streams, who I also want to have on TalkWithLee at some point. But it's not an obligation because I know how busy she is. It's almost impossible, but we'll see.
We can make it happen.
But it was really impressive to me because it was really impressive to me because you guys made it natural. A lot of couples online, you feel like, oh, this is the name of the channel is so and so. It's both of our names combined. This is the whole shtick. We stream together. We play video games together. It's not really a thing of like we want to do it. It's more of a thing of that's our brand. Whereas you guys just do it. It's a part of like you. What I believed is you guys would be doing this whether you were alive or not. That's the message I got as a first time viewer, which was really impressive, really respectable, and really put it into perspective on what you can do as an activity with your significant other, even if they're not into video games. Because I don't think Jaeger was always into video games until she met you, was she?
Correct.
Yeah, and now she streams on her own, plays video games on her own, out of her own volition.
We make that.
And she
we
has
make
favorite
that.
games, guys. She doesn't just
Uh-huh.
do it because her husband does it. She has her own favorite games. That's how you know it's done. Like he infected her.
That's what you call a win. Because yes, that was part of it. Is I would be gaming a lot.
Mhm.
Like we used to sit on the couch, like back when we had first gotten married and in our apartment and everything. She would sit there while I'm playing Dark Souls or the Assassin's Creed games. I
Mhm.
never got to finish the second one because we got stuck trying to find all the fucking flags because there were shinies in the distance. So I'd have to go and get that shiny before she'd let me continue the story.
A black flag got me.
So yeah, I have been collecting those, by the way, but yeah, that was kind of part of it. It's like, okay. And then It Takes Two came out and we were at, we'd been having some, rough times and fights like you do. Because anybody who says there's a perfect marriage, it's not. It takes work. There's going to be highs and lows. It's not
Exactly.
a 50-50 all the time. It's 100-0 sometimes. And you have to be prepared for that. And so we were hitting a lot of like 0-0 days on occasion. And then we saw It Takes Two and it's like, okay, it's a fun, like funny game. Yeah. Okay. We'll try to play together because she'd played several times. No, see, I told you. We'd played like Phasmo together and things like that. She would join me on my early streams because it was very hard coming back out of my introvert shell to talk on camera. Like if you go back and look at some of my stream archives on some of those early streams, it's very different from. No, it's not that different, but it seems like it.
Mm-hmm.
But then starting that game, getting her set up to where she could play games, and then going through It Takes Two, we just did Split Fiction. When we went through It Takes Two, she was such a gaming noob that all of the memes about behind every wife trying to do platforming is a husband not so patiently waiting at the end.
Yeah, she was the embodiment of that meme. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean,
she was that meme before it was a meme.
Now with Split Fiction, you guys were killing it.
Mm-hmm. Then you get Split Fiction, and she's sitting there. I didn't have to coach her too much. It was great. And there's all the other games that she's played since then on her own, and she doesn't have to celebrity shot as much because she used to have that as like a thing on her channel where she would, and I'd have to come in and do a part for her because it was too difficult. But the marriage counseling, going through, especially the story of that game, if you actually went through the story and paid attention to it and didn't just blah, 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 skip it.
The Lies of P game?
No.
Or Takes Two?
It Takes Two.
Yes.
It Takes Two was the very beginning of marriage counseling. Lies of P was, I think, 2 years into it because we just did our 4-year marriage counseling anniversary last month where we've been doing it every Saturday for 4 years. And we discovered through that having that dedicated time on Saturdays for us, we get the kids to bed, we come down and we play a game because it's something that I like to do and that she's discovered that she likes to do as well. And then we had other nights where we'd do, we'd have our rom-com nights where we just drink wine and have popcorn and watch a romantic comedy or just a romance movie like P.S. I Love You, which is a great date movie. It's extremely depressing, but it's a good date movie. But yeah, and just having that talk and just having that kind of interaction between the two of us. Of course, a lot of alcohol was involved on a few occasions to help us both get socially lubricated to where we talk more instead of just bottle up and just focus on the game, which is what I want to. Sometimes you just want to focus, and it's like, well, no, the point is to kind of have that back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I've completely derailed myself. But that helped us kind of reconnect. It kind of relit that spark of it found us a new passion, a new thing that we can do together that we didn't know was a thing.
Yeah.
And so we have co-op games that we play through. And then we found out that we can still go back and do, like when Lies of P, we would pass the controller back and forth. We had a swap controller redemption to where people would make her play it. And so she'd have to play. And I would have to just shut up and watch it and watch all of that sweet ergo disappear when she died again. Because she wouldn't go and grab it. But it was fun. And it's just doing things along those lines and just getting that interaction, getting people, letting people like kind of see us be us. Because it's like you said, a lot of people can kind of be a little bit fake, like, oh, we're a couple, we stream together, and it's a job. It's not we don't treat it as a job. We treat it as a
thing you would do whether or not you were alive.
Yeah. It's a privilege to be able to do it and actually have other people that enjoy it.
Yeah. It is nothing short of a privilege. And also, Thumper, I did notice the gifts up. I appreciate you. Thank you. I just know I wanted to make sure that she knew that I saw that.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing. It put my, like, I thought about my relationship when thinking about that and things that I could do with my own partner that would possibly, not to say we're in a rocky spot or anything. It's just more so that you can always do more. And it was a refreshing thing to see. And also, I think your beard was heavily decorated at the time, so I was like, what's that about? And now I learn. If you ever want to watch Downey on Twitch, go on his stream and spam the beard redemption. He loves it. Don't worry about it. He loves that. He wants more.
Goes and turns off that redemption. What? Me prepare for anything that might come up? The record was 42 that the Thumpers got me. 42 things in my beard.
I did want to jump into this though. This is something that I really think about all the time. The idea of streaming, the idea of this whole being live, playing a video game, we're just talking. It's weird to me because for me, I always wanted to. It's still weird to me, even though I've been doing it for almost 3 years now. It's still weird to me because I've always wanted to do YouTube. That was just what I wanted to do. I didn't care for Twitch. I didn't want to do Twitch. I've been using editing softwares for a living and for just fun for almost a decade now. And I was like, YouTube speaks perfectly to me. That's what I want. And I can launch a film career off of that. And then let me go live one time, and then it got addicting, and then and then I liked it, and then I saw something in it. It still is weird because it's almost, with some people, it's a parasocial relationship almost. And I think about it because sometimes people become so. I don't know if you've had this, but I've had some people, and Thumper might know some people like that as well from other communities that are just become so attached to the streamer, especially when they've met the streamer early on. And in a way, they feel owed something. Like, oh, I was there when you only had 2 viewers. Now you have 20 on average. You should always praise me for being here, right? It's like, and that's not exclusive to Twitch. That's just a human thing. But I feel like that's so unique to Twitch in a way, in the way it happens, because I've seen it happen to me. I've seen it happen to a lot of other people. And it's, I don't know. It still puts me at, it makes me uneasy till this day. It makes me uneasy till this day.
The expectation of praise is kind of think about how narcissism runs rampant right now, just in general. A lot of people are obsessed with themselves. It's natural to have a slight bit. You have to in order to get by. But I've been supporting you for this long. Thank you. Doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get special treatment. And move on. If they're expecting special treatment, then they're not really there for you. They're there for them. And that's all it is. They're there for their own attention. They're there seeking your attention, which I try to give everybody as much attention as I can. Like, if it doesn't matter how many viewers are there, I will try to talk to anybody in chat. I'll try and take a break. There's some times where, yes, I will say, give me a minute, let me finish this part of the game, and I'll get back to you. But the feeling owed, that's a very it also goes the other way when you help people. Because I'm guilty of it as well. There's sometimes where I've helped people, like I've tried to help people grow. I've tried to help people, this is kind of some things to do and get them and it's like, okay. And then I don't exist to them anymore. And I'm like, okay, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Yep.
But I didn't require that. It stung a bit, yeah, which it would almost anybody.
Yeah.
But I don't dwell on it. I don't go seek retribution because I feel slighted.
How dare you not watch me and watch this other person, right?
They've moved on. They're doing their own thing, and good on them. There's several streamers that I've interacted with early on that I don't interact with as much now. I still do interact with several others that I did early on. It's all just what people have time for and what they want to work on. And that's all it comes down to. You can't you can't feel slighted because I forgot. I didn't sing happy birthday to you. I had a lot of stuff going on at work that day. I didn't realize it. I forgot. I was distracted. That happens. I will apologize, but I'm not going to spend 5 minutes begging for your forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how when you try to please everyone all the time, you will make yourself miserable. You have to set that own line for yourself. Everybody's line is different when it comes to a live streaming thing, when you're talking with people, when you're trying to have the interaction, you're trying to have a good show, you're trying to have fun, you're trying to, make everybody laugh and chuckle, but you can only go so far. Sometimes you go way over and you go way too far, and it's kind of hard to reel it back in, which again, hi. This is one of those do as I say, not as I do type of random rants. But you have to set your own limits. You have to know when it's too far, and you have to set limits for the community to let them know when they're going too far. And that's that always praise in public, chastise in private.
That's the thing.
Don't call them out on stream because that's what they want. Send them a DM afterwards. Be like, by the way, this wasn't appropriate. Don't do this anymore. This is kind of your warning. Send a whisper or have one of your mods send a whisper or something along those lines when it happens, but don't give them that kind of satisfaction of that live reaction.
It's boundaries, but it's also every streamer deals with bad actors. Even far removed from being longtime viewers, just bad actors differently. There's people that just ban. There's people that make rules. I've found that certain people, it depends on your mission as a streamer. Like take Gus for example. He has a certain mission, and that's why his ban button isn't as active. If at all, sometimes, right? Unicorn Downey. You might see a lot of Downey props throughout this episode. Viewer discretion is advised. But I found that for the most part, I'm not here to, and this might sound really mean, I'm not here to make you a better person. That's not, as TalkWithLee, that's not my goal. Am I here to possibly give you a new sense of how to look at things? Yes. Am I here to maybe give you a new perspective? Yes. And that could be argued as making you a better person, but my goal isn't to make you a better person. My goal is to entertain. My goal is to be entertained while entertaining you. And my goal is to share something that I love, which is gaming and filmmaking, with you. So, and like I said, this isn't me saying that Gus's way of doing things is wrong. Gus's way of doing things is perfect for Gus. But if I see the good in people, but it's not my mission to unlock that good in people all the time. Some people I would care a lot more to do so than others. Not everybody. It's not for some stranger. If you're some stranger that comes in like blah 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 blah, I'm like, ugh, I don't have that.
And that's you've set those boundaries for yourself, and as people come in, you're able to quickly kind of, no, this isn't what I'm about. I'm here to entertain, etc. Depends on how much horse semen you drink, BV. I'm just saying.
When I grow up, can I have a beard like you, Downey? That you redeemed your 250 points just. Downey's community, ladies and gentlemen. There you go.
But you can try, and you can probably grow a better beard if you take proper vitamins and care. spend a decent amount of time working on my beard, but not nearly as much as I could. And if I trimmed it back, it'd probably be even better.
Mm-hmm.
That's BV. But you have to set those kind of boundaries, like I said, for yourself and your community. Because mine, I reach out a little bit more than you do. That's just who I am, and what I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to do is I'm trying to kind of help people a little bit. I'm not here to
Mm-hmm.
solve all the world's problems. I'm not here to solve everybody's problems, but I'm here to kind of try and reinforce faith in humanity, that kind of there are people out there that do genuinely try to be a good person.
Yeah.
They're not faking it. They're not just doing it to placate you. If you're being a dumbass, I'm going to tell you you're being a fucking dumbass. I'm not going to be like, oh, you tried your best. No, you shouldn't do that again. It's not an act. Now, given everybody that knows my channel and everything, there's some slight exaggerations that might go on at times,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, I try to keep it as genuine as I can.
It's
So
well,
it's just everybody's different. Everybody's got
it's a
their own thing
fine
that they're
line.
trying to put into it and get out of it.
It's a fine line, right? Because for me, I don't want to make this about me, all right? But it's the whole
My
reason I
mission is
even
working. You know, reverse this shit.
I don't know. It's that's your plan to interview me. No, it's like I got asked this question. You want to make film? Yes, I do. It was by my manager, and he said why. And I told him why, and he said, but how does this? You told me you seem like somebody that wants to see the benefit of others, right? True, true. But I'm not actively seeking to help people, but I'm not actively seeking to like. Depending on the person, I'll DM you and be like, "Hey, you didn't seem that well. Let's talk." But I'm not gonna do that for everybody. I don't have the bandwidth. Uh,
You
but
don't got the spoons.
I do want to make film that's like people. Somebody will look at it and say, "Oh, I want to make film now," or "Oh, this message in this
Okay.
film hit me." It's one of those films where the credits play and there aren't claps. You're just dead
Hmm.
quiet. That's the best compliment you can give somebody. Dead quiet after a film is over.
Sometimes.
Depends. All the context is key, but like a clap, an audience applause is versus an audience left speechless at what they just saw. I'm gonna take the speechless. Because I made you think. Because on the drive home, you're not playing music. You're not. You're like, oh my god, let me decipher what I just saw. This message actually meant something to me. And I've seen a handful of movies that have done that to me. That I'm like, this message meant
Can you give an
something.
example of a movie?
Give you an example of a movie.
Mhm. One of those movies that made you.
Right now, off of
Mhm.
recent memory, it's Oppenheimer because
Okay.
we just watched it on film night. Um, the idea of a man who the whole idea is American Prometheus. That was the name he was giving. The god that stole fire and gave it to man, only for man to destroy itself, and then he was forever punished. Um, Oppenheimer thought the bombs would end all war. A very much mid 1900s thought process. We can laugh at it, hindsight 2020, but you will never understand historical figures if you use your brain today and apply your logic today to their logic. He took that sun, gave it to man, and now man will eventually destroy itself. That's the whole thought process he had, and he was punished for it severely by the American government and those around him. Till this day, some people still scrutinize the man for being. He's like, I've become death, destroyer of worlds. Like, oh, you made a bomb and it killed people, and you're surprised. Like, it's deep. There's more layers to that. But that
Hmm.
movie really left a mark on me, big time, big time.
Hmm.
So that's the kind of film I wish to make, something that would leave a mark on you. It won't leave a mark on everybody. My goal isn't to like have 100% success rate, but there's a specific person that would feel what I'm trying to give in that film. Um, so to me, I try to apply that same thought process when I stream.
It sounds like you're seeking to entertain the masses, but inspire the few. Does
Exactly.
that sound?
Yes. I want like a film needs to be entertaining. Let's not get that twisted. I know there's a lot of artsy films that I'll praise for their filmmaking, for their writing, but they're boring. The worst thing you could do to an entertainment product is not make it bad, not make it good, to make it boring. A bad movie is still fun to watch. A good movie is fun to watch. A boring movie is just boring. There's no
It's
redeeming
something to
parts to
sleep
it.
to. Well, that was my
Exactly.
part of left speechless. So you got to just be careful that it's not just a completely
Exactly.
dumbfounded silence. It's actual speechless. They're actually sitting there in silence, contemplating what they just saw, not
Yep.
the when can we leave? Can we leave
Yeah.
now? Or is it going
I
to be
don't pay for
awkward?
my ticket. I need to see this
Silence.
entire thing. Yeah. Obviously, you know, both can be true. But I think that's the kind of thing I'm trying to go for.
Mhm.
And I try to apply that with my streams. Like if somebody were to ask me for advice, I'll give that advice. If somebody is clearly there to do to get something, but they're just not fully there at the same time, like they have issues. They struggle with communication.
They
They
haven't
might
thought it all the way through.
exactly they might say something in chat that they clearly don't mean. I'm not gonna ban that. I'm more so talking about the person that just goes in there with the immediate goal to disrupt. That's their whole goal.
Mhm.
And it's like, yes, there are some people that are willing to sit with that person and convert them. That's not me. You know what I mean? That's just not me at all. Um,
That's part of that sharpening wit thing. Is a lot of times
mm-hmm,
I'm not insta ban trigger. Um,
mm-hmm,
it's that okay. You said your thing. Not something we're going to talk about, and we move on. Um, and if they stick around and keep doing it, okay, fine. And then usually the mods that are around are usually pretty quick after the second time where it's like, okay, you're here to disrupt. Goodbye. I'll give somebody a little bit of chance. I'm not going to immediately go get the fuck out. I'm not going to deal with your shit
mm-hmm.
unless they say something clearly obvious. You're gone. Um, like TOS breaking random shit. Then you're done.
Obviously, yeah. I like how we're talking about banning people. The bot automatically catches one of those like buy followers here bots. You know, it's
Uh
so
huh.
good.
I was like, what was it said? What did it say? I'm curious. But I do like that comparison, Nos. That's a very good kind of a thing. Clapped at
Yeah.
Marvel, but sat still during Schindler's List. That's a good example of entertainment and message.
Mm-hmm. And that's the hard part to give out. And I think gaming
So,
does that pretty well. Gaming has something. Gaming has something that a film could never achieve, and it's the interaction. Take a Red Dead 2, take a Cyberpunk, take a Witcher 3, take
I played
a
one of
Kingdom
those.
Come Deliverance. They
Played
put
part
you
of
in
it.
a situation where you must act, where you must do things, and it feels more personal. Even if those decisions aren't like, even if the story is linear, you're still playing it, and if the story
Mhm.
is good enough and it's thought out enough,
Choose your own
I
adventure books became video games.
it's so good. It really puts you in that movie like state. That movies for some reason just not all movies. I don't want to be like a complete pessimist, but a lot of movies don't do anymore. They make you wonder. They make you think. They make you wish that a different outcome could have happened for your character, and it makes it that much more personal because you are playing that character. Like in Red Dead 2. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't played Red Dead Redemption
All
2.
right, let me mute real quick.
You haven't
I've
played
never
it?
played.
Oh
I
my
haven't
god,
played either
never
of the Red
mind.
Deads. Yep. I'm like, I kind of.
No,
It's
I can't. No, 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 I can't. I can't. I
no,
can't. I can't.
no.
I
I was
can't.
about to say, oh, don't worry, I'd stop you. It's like, yeah,
Oh my god.
that's one of those like, nope, because Red Dead One, Red
What can
Dead
I? You
Two,
play
and you
Witcher
hadn't
3,
played.
right?
Finally, yeah, it took me an entire
Did you
year
play
to beat
Blood
it.
and
But
Wine in your
yeah,
entire play?
both expansions. Yeah.
So, and I don't know what ending you got. And spoilers for anyone who hasn't played Witcher 3.
I
When
got
you
the good one.
play when you play Blood and Wine, and then which I consider the definite ending, the true ending, and you get
Hmm.
that ending where it's like when Geralt says, "I think it's time for a rest, don't you think, old friend?" And then he looks directly at the camera,
Nice.
and rolls credit. I mean, and he's talking to his actual friend, but he looks at the camera and he's like, oh. And I remember getting that after 270 hours. I'm like, no,
No,
I
give
have
me my money
nothing
back.
left.
Give me my time back. Well, now you got me
Exactly.
curious.
Yes, it's you didn't get that ending.
Well, no, I know he was talking to somebody
He
on the
was
ending
talking
that I
to
got.
the I forgot his name, the vampire. Forgot his name. Oh my
Oh,
god,
that's not
you
the
gotta
ending I
complete a
got.
different ending.
200 hours.
Oh, 200 hours. Yeah, I got 270. Come on, Downey.
That was
Get
one
those numbers
playthrough.
up.
Yeah. Keep in mind though, the interactions on stream,
True, true.
the amount of time it's sitting there on the starting screen while everything else is going.
That's one thing I can't. Almost, I had to be careful. I almost started resenting streaming at a certain point. I won't lie.
Because it takes you away from your game sometimes.
Because yeah, like oh my god, this new game just came out. I don't only have so much time in a day to game or stream, so let me do both. I'm playing it and I'm missing so much. It definitely happened um when I played Assassin's Creed Mirage, which isn't good. So that wasn't that
Okay.
much of a loss. But I realized 5 hours into playing, I was like, I don't remember what happened the past 5 hours in terms of the story. And I started resenting. I'm like, "Ugh, I really just want to sit down and just enjoy. I want to get immersed in this world that these developers have spent years crafting. I want to listen to a
Hmm.
soundtrack on full volume, put my headphones on, not look here, turn the light off. I don't want to in my face, right? I don't want to look at chat. I don't want to talk to any. I don't want sound effects playing. I just want to pay attention. And I had to find a balance, and my balance is I just if I care about the game enough, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I'll just play it off stream. I
Hmm.
experiences are that they're experiences for you, and obviously you don't have to agree with me on this, but for me, I have to sit down and have a one-on-one with that product.
And a lot of times when I go through certain games like that, I like kind of sharing that experience with people because there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times I don't play new games. I will wait until games are and everybody else has already played through them and experienced
Mm-hmm.
them, and then they know what's going to happen. There's not going to be spoilers. They know what's going to happen, and then I'll do something completely different than how it's supposed to be done,
Mm-hmm.
or I'll have a completely different reaction to a certain scene. Because that's what I get out of like watching people's VODs or anything along those lines is seeing how they react to certain situations compared to how I did.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't watch any games that I haven't played. Like I'll go in, I'll hang out, I'll get a lurk up, but if I haven't played the game, if there's a chance I'm going to play it, I won't
Mm-hmm.
watch. That's how
Yeah.
I did a blind Bloodborne playthrough after like 7 years or so or 10 years or whatever it was.
Oh, you didn't
That was
play it
a
until way later?
yeah. Until
Oh,
I streamed
interesting.
it, I had never played it. And I'd never seen anybody play it. I had avoided it at all costs because I was told that would be my favorite game.
And it was.
And so I avoided it. And it definitely still is the top if the fucking
Mm-hmm.
healing farming mechanic. But that kind of interaction that's showing it, um, like being able to and like have that focus, but then getting pulled out of it. At times I let that frustration flow through on some games.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain times where I'll be like, okay, read the room before you do the redeem. That's kind of a thing that I've talked
Yeah.
about it sometimes, but it's a stream. They're there to kind of interact. That's what it is.
Yeah. You
But
can only
there's some
control
people that are
so
there to
much.
see. Exactly. You just have
Mm-hmm.
to kind of let it go. But when you've had like a rough day at work or something, there's some times where I have less patience with things, and
Mm-hmm.
I've snapped at chat before. I've had that issue where it's like, okay, just leave me the fuck alone for 2 minutes, which is not what you do in a stream.
I've never done that.
No, you've never done that. Um, and so usually I'll apologize. And so if there's games that I want to just enjoy, that's why I appreciate like some ideas and like the playing it offline and recording it. Like it's funny enough that Simp jumped in as we're at this kind of conversation, but he
Yeah.
recently went and did he took the Oblivion remake and is doing a YouTube series on it instead. So where he's able to just focus
Good
on the
for
game
you, my friend.
and just record it,
Mm-hmm.
record his reaction, his everything with the game, and not worry about the distractions and like I said, all the lights and the sounds and everything else. But you actually get to enjoy it because it's a game he really wanted to enjoy without
Mm-hmm.
all the extra stuff.
Yeah,
There's
especially
certain
if you haven't
games that
played
I
it
have that
before.
same feeling. I have that same feeling about where I say, okay, I want to go through this, experience it. So maybe I should record it. But then I get into that, then that starts that dilemma, that train of, okay, well, which games do I stream live? Which games do I record? And which games do I just completely play offline?
And when do I have time to do that?
Like I said, you just don't sleep. All right. Ooh.
He said, "What drives you creatively to create new things?" It's two creates in that. I don't like that. Fix that. Don't answer that question. The way he asked, I don't like it.
He's Scottish. Leave him alone.
Go ahead. What drives you
Um,
creatively? which is a very open ended. So I won't be upset if you don't have like a
No.
specific thing.
Oh no, I've got several.
I'm
help,
being
help, I'm being
impressed.
impressed. Um, no, that's a very good question. And it's a thing I struggle with a lot is where I'll go through creative droughts where I can't get a new idea or an original idea of any kind of something new, something crazy. Cause I want to try and like, keep the stream, like change redemptions out occasionally, see which redemptions aren't getting used anymore, get rid of them, get something new, come up with new, and I go with nothing. And then all of a sudden there'll be a day where I'll have just a creative spark. I don't know what it'll be. I don't know if it was a good day at work or the kids were extra special or Jaeger was being just amazing as always, but even more so, or
Hmm.
just something just clicks. And then the next 36 to 48 hours, I will crank out several video edits, green screen records, redemption makes, bot interaction and automation, and just go crazy. And it's great. But then some of them will only get to like 90% and I'll get pulled away. I'll have the creative kind of push and I'll start doing it. But then by the time I get back to it, was it a good idea? Nah, it wasn't a good
No,
idea
not really.
anymore. And so committing to a lot of the creative ideas, other times to kind of try and get that spark going, I'll go watch like random YouTube videos of things. I'm like, okay, it's just random things that come up in my personal YouTube account's got so much random shit on it from me just like, okay, just show me random 3D effects for a bit. Just show me what are people kind of doing? And a lot of it's now just so saturated with AI, it's kind of rough, but or some other streamers. Like I'll always talk to other streamers and you know, I have several really close friends that are streamers that I'll kind of pitch an idea to them. It's like, what do you think about this? And they'll be like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. And I'll be like, good, thank you. I appreciate that honest and blunt feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. Then other times they'll be like, well, maybe don't have Symph running across your screen naked, but only with the kilt. Of course, he's going to be sitting there doing this the whole way across. Don't do that. With the pufferfish censoring the bits.
Nice.
See, but now I want to make that a thing to where it's just a Symph
Listen
thing
to
going.
your
See,
alternative
yeah.
self advice. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've mentioned AI a couple times,
Mm-hmm.
so I just want to let you know that's the next question. I want to explore
Oh, really?
your thoughts on that because that is something I have thoughts. You have thoughts.
Mm-hmm. I have thoughts. I'll actually have Symph's question lead into it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But the creative. I don't know. It's just trying to come up. Like I've got several things on the back burner for parodies because I used to always write song parodies. I full on Weird Al Jr. style song parodies all the way back from high school, actually before then, all the way through. And I would just write just change lyrics randomly just to piss off my family and make them laugh. So piss off one family member, make the other family member laugh, and then take the one that laughs favorite song and change it to piss them off and make the other one and keep that balance. Nice. But for the most part, yeah, sometimes it's going into a sensory deprivation type of a thing and just sitting in silence. Like my bike rides help me creatively because I'll go on a bike ride, 2-3 hour bike ride in silence, just riding down a trail and just letting my mind just kind of wander and then getting back and immediately writing down my notes from thoughts. Like it helps work through just it helps clear your head quite a bit. Just going in silence or just going into a dark room, no music, no anything, no light, and just in a dark room and just see where your brain takes you.
I love the silence.
Just set a timer and then, okay, anything that you thought about, random little exercises like that. Like, okay, if this is happening and working through those scenarios, this happens on stream. What are you going to do? How would you handle it? How can you make it funny? Replaying past streams in your head of, okay, what could I have done differently in all of these different things? And just building upon that. And then eventually you get to a whole big pile of, well, that's not going to fucking work. And so you throw it away and start over. Sometimes there's a random piece in there that's good. But most of the time, it's a lot of nothing for me. Yeah. It's a lot of mental strain for very little payout. And that's just kind of my process. It's a whole lot of quantity and trying to find the quality in it. Now, of course, a lot of it might be good quality for other people. It's not saying that other people are worse, but I have such a high standard for me that it sucks. Everyone is their own worst critic. That
Yeah,
is a cliche that is entirely accurate.
and it's never been. I felt it more the past few weeks, just with the promotion and new responsibilities.
Mhm.
It's been a wild ride,
I hope
especially
that
like
answered it, Simph.
it. It I think it did. Don't worry about him. He's Scottish. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. Now that I know, I didn't know he was Scottish, by the way. Now that I know, I don't really. I've never
Have you
really
ever
actually.
have you ever seen
The
his
only time I ever
stream?
the only time I ever caught him was when you guys do your derp stream together.
Mm-hmm,
For some
mm-hmm.
reason, every time I've caught him, he's been the only one that's just like silent. And it's been at the ends where I feel like he just got tired. There
Mm-hmm.
you go. Where he just got tired, and I'm like, yep, there we go. My only interaction with him has been through chats. So, um, but now that I love that he's Scottish, though, that's the favorite fact I've learned all week.
It's his accent and his pancakes are what bring all the girls to the yard.
Nice. Um, what was I gonna say?
AI.
King of derailing. Can't do that to me. No, yeah. Okay, there we go. Got it. As far as feeling feeling like criticizing yourself to a point of destruction, that
Mhm.
is something that I feel like everybody can relate to at a certain level. Creatively, though, for me, I don't get. I have the opposite problem. I don't get the writer's block. Like, for example, I'm writing my stories, which is most of my filmmaking, because filmmaking is really expensive to do. So a lot of my filmmaking ends up being the writing portion. Writing, I never get that. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know. Like, I got writer's block. I don't have that. For me, it's the other issue. For me, it's I'm overwhelmed with thought. I don't know what to write down. It's bad. It's for me. The creativity of things is like finding ideas isn't the issue. It's which idea do I take, and it puts me in a situation of halt. So it ends up as the same conclusion where you have writer's block and you don't write. You have so many ideas, you don't write. You have so many ideas for you
Uh,
have no ideas for
Decision
stream.
paralysis.
You don't make new decisions. Or you don't make new additions to your stream. You have so many different things you could do. Decision paralysis. You don't do anything. It's bad. It's really really bad. But for me, often I would like to get a certain sector of creativity. Like, oh, I want to write this specific type of story, but I'm not very knowledgeable on. For example, my I'm not gonna go too deep into it because the story is
Mhm.
still in the making. But my main character is Irish. He's a cowboy, an Irish cowboy. I don't know. I didn't know much about Ireland at the time. I'm not. I don't claim to be an expert. I've never been to the country, but reading a lot more about it gave me more ideas. But I will say, reading my first drafts, I just made him Scottish. Now that's kind of funny that he's here. He was just he was.
Need a voice actor. I know a guy.
Is he in the chat?
Yeah, he was just asked that last question. I'm just saying.
Can you pull off a good Irish accent? Can he?
Let's be honest. Most people wouldn't tell the difference.
That's the thing with that's the thing with me
I'd
though. I
probably just
don't
piss
like
Simph
that.
off, and he'll never talk to me again.
I don't like that because I can tell it, and I feel like it kills the authenticity of it, right? Because my whole thing is when I'm making this movie, I'm gonna be so honest. I'm not thinking of my average viewer. I'm thinking of I don't want a Scottish person to fuck. See what you did? I want an Irish person to think to watch this
Captain
movie and
Derailed.
cringe, be like, ugh. Because I'm basing it off like what's going on in Ireland at the time. Why did he even immigrate to the Americas? Why did he even become a cowboy? Why is he an outlaw? Um, I don't want an Irish person to watch this and be like, oh, this is
Hmm.
so stupid, right? um, I'm gonna stop that topic before I get
Hmm.
derailed. Because if I start talking about my story, I'm not gonna stop. Um,
Hmm.
you and me both. Well, you in a bigger caliber work in tech. I worked in tech, and I've found it to. As much as I love it, as much as I, for so many years of my life, thought, you know what, this is the path, this is the thing I want to do. Not anymore. Not anymore. I've been surrounded by my computers my whole life. My dad's is a software engineer. My mother's a software engineer. Both of them are. They don't work anymore because from when we came to this country, the degrees don't transfer over. They asked them to redo college from the beginning, and they said hell no. So, um, but
It's the
they've worked.
dumbest thing ever to require a degree in a tech field.
Yeah, especially now. Um, but I worked specifically at Micro Center at the headquarters, and it was I loved the job. I loved doing what I was doing, but I'm gonna be so honest. When I transferred over from customer service to tech support, I thought I would have to deal less with drama, and it got exponentially worse. It was clear to me that as much as I love this,
Yep.
this isn't the
Where's
only
your
thing
sticky
you're gonna
note?
be doing. I'm not gonna hit it. It's too expensive. As much as I love this, this isn't the only thing you do when you're working in tech. And in fact, a lot of it is this talking, depending on the field. And
Mm-hmm.
oh my
Depending on
god,
which level.
it's so political. It's a corporate political for to not
Yes.
it's so corporate political, and it's just not it's not what I thought it would be, and I definitely don't. And obviously at the time I tech used to in high school used to be what I wanted to do, and then I wanted to do film, but I still wanted to get a degree in it just in case film doesn't work out. I'm like, it's still I wouldn't be upset if I would work in tech my entire life. Now I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't want to, even if that was the only decision. I would not be happy with it. It's not something I'm happy about anymore. Just from that one experience. Now I could be. It's probably not a good idea to base it off of that one experience because that sample size is not particularly large. But I felt like that was enough for me to be like, no. But for you, working in IT, I don't know how long you've been working in IT for. You can choose to go in as much detail as you want. I'm not going to force you to go into whatever detail you
Mm-hmm.
into more detail, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what's your experience been as a IT professional? Or I guess what your I don't know
So
what
let's
your job
see.
title exactly is.
You won't. Um, but I've been 20 years. Wait, how old am I now? So I
Dementia's
started
kicking in,
off.
guys.
Yep, yep. I started off working just in tech support, supporting like the school machines, school computers,
Mm.
reformatting the school computers over the summer, doing summer help. Funny enough, though, before I'll go into that in a second. I started off wanting to be going to architecture. I wanted to be a builder, a building designer, and building structures and bridges and things like that because that was fun for me because it was the math and the physics and the weights and everything else. And then I decided, no, it wasn't really that. It was the numbers. And so then it was accounting. I was going to go into accounting and just, do numbers my whole life. And then I went to a computer show way back when, and they just had computer parts across the entire arena floor. And I went there with my dad and my uncle and helped them pick out parts, like get the soundboard, the video card, the 666 with 64 megs of RAM, whatever it was way back then. Um, the tower, bigger the tower, the better. We had
Yeah,
this
of
thing called
course.
a CD burner, and there was a diskless CD reader. It's crazy with 4 hard drive bays. I can't remember the size of them, but it's less
Where
than
you
your
could
phone.
just slot hard
Um,
drives in at the time. They just open up the case,
no,
just
this was
slot
before hot
data
swap
in.
hard drives. These were all IDE
Uh,
cable drives.
oh,
Yeah, how many people remember an IDE cable or even know what an IDE cable
you're you're
is?
you're 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 young.
Yeah,
That's the word I'm looking
yeah,
for.
I'm young, and building that, going back and actually putting all the components in, and then installing the operating system from like going and all that, and I'm like, okay, no, this was fun. And so at that point, I started wanting to learn more about computers. So I'd talk with my uncle, I'd talk with my dad, and then kind of in school, I started showing that. And so I'd work with the teachers, and then I would talk with them. I'd stay after school to work with them on things to learn more and more and absorb as much as I could. And so even then, I went to college for it. At college, I worked in the lab. Like I had to do lab work. I had to help people who had to, because at that point, college students were of all ages. Computers were still, they were everywhere at that point, and people needed to learn. but there were people who didn't grow up with them. So having to help them and teach them at the same time, having deep freeze turned on the computers. So that way, for those that don't know, deep freeze was a fun program that you installed that would set the state, and you restart the computer, wipes everything, takes it back to that state. It's great. So when people would break it or try and mess with it or anything else, it's like, okay, just restart it. It's back. It starts back up where it was. Everything was just written to memory. It's fun. And then resetting all the lab machines and then having to help set up the networks and everything else. And so that took me down more of a networking path and then all of this other things, server admin, stuff like that. Got out of that and started professionally in tech support as a part-time. Worked part-time tech support, learning what I could off of anybody in the department. And then eventually the entire team left. And so then it was just me for this whole company and the application engineer. And I had to learn real quick how to do a lot of stuff. And so then
golden opportunity, though.
And went up, restructured the entire network, server environment, and everything else, with only my college degree and me being able to figure stuff out. Got all that.
That is the best skill.
Worked my way up, and then it got political. Corporate is always political. You have to say things just the right way. You have to kiss the right asses. And I was tired of it. Like, I was the head of a global team at, Bench's age, on a global project, migrating, and I left that place.
Wow.
Because it was political bullcrap. It was no matter what you do, it's what have you done for me lately? It's, yeah, you worked 80 hours last week, but you came in an hour late today. Excuse me?
Do you regret leaving those now, lines. So?
That place?
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if I would have stuck it out there, I'd be in a much higher position, but it was one of the things. I was not happy. It was impacting my life outside of work. It was impacting my health. It was rough. And I switched, because this explains a lot about me so I was at that place long enough, and then I switched to where I'm at to this day. So, because of certain things and opportunities, I joined a very small team that has since grown quite a bit, but had to go from a very disorganized, it was bad, to then be able to completely redesign a multi-site, multinational infrastructure, and rebuild that pretty much from the ground up was a very good experience I didn't want to pass up on. And so I was able to do that and then maintain it and continue to upgrade it and improve it. And then now I do, a lot of that. And
almost slipped up, my friend. Be careful.
Yep.
Now I do.
It's close. Now I do more things, because that's one thing is a lot of the folks at my work, like, I keep my streaming career and my professional career separate as much as I can. Very few people. I do want to notate
one thing, though. I want to interject in this one thing. So you could, like you mentioned, you could be at a higher position right now, but it was not making you happy. I used to be such an embracer of embrace the suck. That was my idea. I saw that smile. You motherfucker. You listen to me right now. You listen. There's nothing behind him. Oh. I forgot about them too. I was okay.
You were saying
let me rephrase
about embracing the suck.
I was embracing the idea of you have to go through hardship to achieve success. It's a must. There's no such thing as an alternative. Life has to suck for life to be good. I do think that's still somewhat true, but not to the extent that I thought it was. I used to think, oh, this position sucks. It's horrible. I hate it. But it's X amount of money. And I could be happier here, but it's less by this much. Mm-hmm. But if I want to develop and do the things I want to do with that money, I got to stay here. Embrace how horrible this is. Because it's going to be worth it at whatever time that happens to be. And I think that's such a flawed mindset completely. Because even if you end up getting to that goal, you're not, I don't think, I think for most people, because you could be a very particular type of person, you could be very happy and satisfied with with what happened. I think if you're somebody who has a family or just a partner, somebody who has other things in life that they care about, if your life sucks at work every day, it becomes increasingly hard every single day to separate. I clocked out. I don't even think about work. That's becomes like impossible because if you're going for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day, and those 12 hours, those 8 hours, those 10 hours of your day are absolute horrendous BS the entire time, you can't just turn your brain off and then go home to your wife and go, "Hey, honey, how are you? I love you." It's like, "Hey, honey, leave me the fuck alone." As horrible and as demented and as just evil that is to say to somebody you claim to love, guess
Mhm.
what? That's a valid feeling you're feeling at that moment. And that's
And
where
if they
most
love you and
relationships
understand you,
break.
they know why you're that way. But you have to have that open conversation. That's a relationship piece. Is sometimes you have to know your partner,
Mm-hmm.
know that they're stressed at work, and ask them. Set those rules. Like, do you want the biggest thing? Like I've told this to Jaeger many times when we're talking about work. Is, do you want to vent or do you want me to help you fix it?
God, they should do
I
that
need to
more
know this
often.
up front
I've gotten in trouble a couple
because,
times.
yeah, because a lot of times they don't want you to fix their problem. They just want to yell about the stupid bitch they had to work with or the dumb crap they had to work at there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fix for it. Don't coach them on how they could have handled the situation differently. They don't want to hear it. They just needed, they couldn't say this. And but that's beside the point. Not the point I was really going for was
Mm-hmm.
the embrace the suck mentality. Um, um, a lot of times though, you won't be respected if you weren't in the trenches for at least some time. You wouldn't appreciate what goes on in those trenches unless you yourself were there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't respect your boss if they didn't go through that. That's where that
Exactly.
embrace the suck mentality has its benefits. So think about it right now. In today's world, how people treat retail or wait staff, food service industry. How do people treat those? They treat them like garbage most of the time. How many of those people that treat them like garbage ever worked in that position? None.
The
Anybody
irony is
who's
a lot
ever
of them
worked
did, I
in
feel.
that position, anybody who's ever worked in food service, retail, you have a mutual respect for anybody still working in that.
Minimum wage customer service. Sucks.
You have to, it sucks.
Sucks.
And it's the worst thing because everybody treats you like it. But occasionally you find somebody who went through that same trench and you're having a rough day and you just had the worst fucking customer go through and they come up and they just give you a smile and say,
Mm-hmm.
"Do you want to cuss at me? You wanted to cuss at them. You can cuss at me. There's no cameras, there's no recording." And they just go, and then they feel better. They put the smile back and they make it through their day. Because sometimes it's all they're able to do because of the stupid restrictions on certain jobs. Have just, you need 10 years experience for this entry level job. What the fuck is entry level if it needs 10 years experience? The work, it's, I could rant on that for a
Yeah,
while,
and
but
but the thing is, to me, I really want to highlight it's. I feel like with food service especially, I feel like a lot of people did work in. They're still rude for one reason. People don't have a lot of, and this goes into what we were just talking about. How sometimes work sucks. Sometimes there's jobs that just suck the entire time. Most of the time, things suck because you don't have control over the outcome. Things happen, and you feel like this is happening, and I can't control it. I can't make it better. There's levels, there's bosses, there's teams, there's a coworker. I can't physically like put this together. A lot of people, and as sad as it is to say, a lot of people today have the only time they have control is when they pick their meal. What do I get to eat today during lunchtime? I'm picking my meal. That's the only time I have control. Maybe their family life isn't good, their work isn't good, They're not. They feel like they've lost control over both. They
Or
go to
they
pick a
pick a
meal.
hobby that allows them to stay up late and they continue to stay up late because they control when they stop streaming and go to bed. I mean, what?
Downey, every time I've seen you, and guess what? Same time zone, and I know you work early, and I'm like, it's 1 a.m., my friend. What are you doing? Well, genuinely, what are you doing? But no, like people don't have control except for the time they pick their meal. So, and that's not an excuse. That's just an understand. Help you understand, like helps me understand at least what why that reaction's so volatile. It's because you are in the way of the one time I have control today. How dare you? And this is subconscious. You tell somebody that, be like, no, that's not how I think.
Mhm.
It's
But at the
very
same
bad.
time, the problem is there's also people that are working in those roles that just
Mm-hmm.
assume they're being a dick because they're always a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody takes the second to give a benefit of the doubt to assume that maybe they're having a bad day and that's why they're being rude. Nobody ever just immediately like, oh, you're a terrible person. It's not necessarily the case. Yes, there are terrible people out there. I will not, there are bad people. There are people who are assholes, just be assholes.
Literally rub hands together evil,
Yes.
just for the sake of it.
But they're fewer than people make it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's an asshole. The majority of people just have a bad day or they had something go wrong. And you just happen to say just the right thing in the right tone that reminded them of that asshole at work that they really want to punch in the face, but they need their job. Not speaking from experience at all.
You're not violent.
So, me? No, I'm not violent at all. I've never had anger issues.
How many controls did you break the past 3 years?
How many monitors have you broke the last 3 years?
One. How many controls
One.
did you break? No, you did not. No, you broke more. Come on. Come on. You guys make it sound like you broke so many.
Oh, I smashed it pretty good though.
I was trying to break a
Wait,
controller.
hang on. Define break.
Either no longer works or is deformed from its original shape or has a crack.
Yeah, one.
Dent?
Nope.
Okay, bro.
No, see, now you're stretching.
I was trying to break a controller. I was not aiming
It
for a
was a
monitor.
Yeah, because the rest of them were broken because they were cheap ass knockoffs. We don't. Yeah, you shut up.
How about keyboard? How about keyboards? How many keyboards have you broken?
What time frame?
3 years. It's more than one.
Maybe 5 or 6.
What the fuck? How? Okay, I feel like that's harder to break than like because the keyboard is here. It's like a bigger object. You have to like you have to premeditate that. Like that's a whole thought. With a controller, it's just throw. With this, you have to pick up and then throw.
Nope, no pickup. I've never broken a keyboard from picking it up or throwing it.
You smash it on the table, my man. What game made you that upset?
Who said it was a game?
Downey doesn't have anger issues, guys.
No, none at all. None at all. Honey, you're supposed to be reading your book, weren't you? Call me out
Yeah,
like
listen,
that.
Jaeger is just
Uh-huh.
outing him, and I love it.
See?
All right.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry. When she has her time, when she has her talk with Lee, don't worry. I'll have the same.
Oh, see, okay. Binge with Lee is definitely more scared of one of the Downies.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it? It's definitely not Downey.
It's definitely not me.
Especially after seeing Jaeger in person. In hearing Jaeger's mom voice whenever she's yelling at the Krakens, I'm like, no, no. And I've seen her get the angry eyes one time. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say Jaeger is like a mean person or is like has anger issues. It's just Jaeger. Just
Mm-hmm.
Jaeger. Just Jaeger. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not pushing that. I'm not pushing that.
Nope.
That's a button I'm not gonna press.
Don't worry,
Too scary.
I'll press it.
Well, okay. To be fair, you know how to press it and still live.
Not necessarily. There's been injuries before.
Downey is totally
You
more
are,
scary.
honey.
I'm a sweetheart. Yes.
There's only one answer to that, Ben. You should know. Yes, she's 100% the sweetheart. I am the
100%.
scary one.
Yes, I'm so scared.
Blink
of
twice.
I'm scared of Downey. He's more terrifying. Shiver in my boots.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other words I can use? Puts the fear of God in me. I can't lie.
Yes.
AI.
Sure, yeah. Oh, let's bring it all the way back around.
Yes,
Got it.
AI. This is something I want to talk about. Are you familiar with a YouTuber called CGP Grey?
No.
Very. He's one of those YouTubers that talks about random subjects, but he used to be a professor. Very educated man. Love watching him because I love being well rounded in knowledge. Yes, I love tech. Yes, I love filmmaking, and now since working in the dealership, cars. I didn't think I'd love cars them as much as I do now.
All of which are very expensive things to love.
Yeah, it's so sad. Man, I hate being a guy. What is it? What's the next thing? Weaponry.
Oh, no. Trust me. You want to see the fabric bill? You want to see the thread bill?
I actually do know because Ashley, I know you're watching. She doesn't chat. She just watches.
Lurkers are fine.
She spends a lot. Well, she doesn't look. She's there. Like she doesn't tap it. Like she's there, pay attention. The amount of money I think scary. Okay, the amount of money I think allegedly she spends on fabric is. Joann's is closing, and it is very cheap, now. So she does not spend that much money anymore.
Yeah, girl math. It's all on sale.
Oh, girl math. Can I tell you something about girl math that she told me? If I spend my money on something and I get a refund and it's in cash, that's free money. No, it's not. It's not free money. Because she's like, I already put it out of my budget. In my mind, I already spent it. So now I got it back. So now I can spend it however I want. I'm like, no, it's not how that works.
I thought it was already closed.
Oh, maybe
okay.
It's not already
anyway,
closed.
AI person.
AI, yes, AI.
And hobbies and things, yeah.
So, yeah, I feel well-rounded in all these things. And especially now, I can fix my computer. I can fix my car. It's nice. So I want to learn more about AI. I've thought about within reason. I can't rack my car and replace an engine, but I was like, let me think about some AI real quickly. I want to see if I can what utilization can I have as a content creator, as somebody who does code on his computer, as somebody who does do a lot on his computer. I tend to utilize it as much as I can. I did pay for it after all. I don't want to just game on it. And the more I utilize, the more I feel like AI is suffering from over exposure, in the sense of AI existed for a long time and it was always utilized for a plethora of different things. But now that it's become a hot topic, now it's become a consumerist thing, you see AI pop up all over the place now more than ever, but it's watered down. It's like, here's an AI for making images, for profile pictures. Here's an AI for generating you a YouTube thumbnail. Now here's an AI for making a YouTube title. It's not full utilization anymore. It's become, there's a market, we can make money off of it. So therefore, let's make the simplest version we can possibly make, spread it like a virus. I think AI should exist. Hot take, sorry. I think it should exist. I think there's some real utilization to it, and I think it could be a lifesaver and a useful tool. Lawyers can sort through thousands of pages of proofreading without having to spend weeks in discovery. I'm not saying let it make the argument for you, but instead of having to physically sort through files, you can have AI find you the exact thing you're looking for. I do think AI can be good enough to diagnose, potentially with the help of a doctor. Not fully on its own, but with the help of a doctor. I don't think it can replace a human touch, the human empathy, although I might eat my words, I don't know. But I do think it's a useful tool. It's a useful thing to cut down time to make you save more lives, do the job you should do.
I want to just stop right there. That's the correct mindset. It is a tool.
That's what I mean.
Not a replacement.
But my issue
That's the
now,
difference in mindset that people have.
the issue now is the idea of an artist, for example. Oh, you're upset about AI art? Well, don't make your commission so expensive. Huh. I'm like, that's a false idea because it's the same. That's they're those same people that say, "Oh, well, your product is too expensive, so therefore I'm going to use this thing." Well, that's the same idea as saying, "Well, these restaurants rely on tips to pay their employees, but that's fine because the business cannot exist without it." It's like this business should not exist. The tipping is like in America. It's a very much a scam by companies because I can raise the cost of food while also lowering the cost of how much I have to pay in wages. Um, it's
So that's why they never claim all their tips.
if you have an issue with artists charging however much, then you should also have an issue with companies not paying their employees enough and having them rely on tips. It's the same idea. You can't then use an alternative service and then claim that, well, these employees should just not require a tip. You're attacking the wrong person. You're attacking the employee. In this artist scenario, you're attacking the artist that's fully sourcing the material, taking the time to do the art, and then taking the time to market it. That's three things they're doing. So you're paying for all these three things technically. You're not just paying for the product. You fail to realize that. To me, I think AI is being. It's very dangerous how people are treating it as a replacement for a lot of things. And people that do more complex jobs think they're safe. I don't think you are. This is a line directly from CGP's video. It's the blue collar worker has less demand to be replaced. It's you in your office with your higher salary and your benefits that cost a lot more money. Your job is more sought after to be replaced than the guy hammering stones every day.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not safe. Definitely not.
No. So the big counter argument and the big argument between that, especially when you're talking from corporations, things like there's the right side and the wrong side. AI helps you do things faster. So the question is, should you do more and get more done now, or be able to have higher quality work because of the less time it takes to do the mundane? The problem is most corporations see AI as a replacement instead of a tool to enhance.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're using it to replace personnel to have it. And then here pretty soon, they're going to bite that bullet when something goes wrong and they need it to be fixed. The AI is not going to be able to fix itself for at least a little while longer. And you've already shunned all of the people that could have checked to make sure it was going wrong. So making sure to keep that focus on it being an enhancement tool, something to help you do things more efficiently. And then that way you have more time to focus on higher level tasks, more design things, especially in the IT world. I've had this discussion with Dano on a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's completely separate from the artistic community. So the artistic community, that's the same. My world's been called the plumbing of IT because cables, wiring, interconnections. We're the plumbers. Tell me how you're going to hire an AI to come fix. You can't.
It's the hands-on work.
It's a certain piece. Like you can go and pay the for you and do multiple renditions, multiple, and eventually it'll get something close to what you want. If you want it to be what you want, you have to talk to a person. That will never change. However, there's a lot of people that are willing to just accept close enough, and it's good. I said there's some benefit to it. Like a lot of times, because yes, a lot of custom art and things is expensive. It's very time intensive for those artists. The problem is that nobody respects that as a field anymore. The fact that it's been burnt into everybody's brain that quick and cheap is better than right. And because most of the time, anything that you want done, there's three options. You can pick two. Do it right, do it quick, do it cheap. Pick two of the three. That's all you get. You can never have all three.
Mm-hmm.
And people always go for quick and cheap. That's true in almost every profession.
it's a problem of hindsight. But what's your argument with the? Because I think you were going somewhere with that. The
Mhm,
argument of is separate from the artistic community. So what do you think is
mhm.
the issue for the like specifically for the artistic community?
Because of the fact that there are so many examples for it to pull from that it's able to get very close to what people are wanting. The problem is, it then, as you said, it is now oversaturated. Now you can easily tell there's AI out there creating YouTube videos for people. The voices, you can clearly tell which ones are AI generated. There's a easy cadence in the tones. Like I'd watched a couple of videos from something, and then I'm like, wait, this is just an AI generated thing where it went out and grabbed like game clips and grabbed a script
Hmm.
and wrote it. And I'm like, this is I still and I enjoyed the content. It was informative, but it was clearly just a quick generated thing that's going to go out just to get a few 100,000 views or whatever it is.
Hmm.
There's going to be that's going to happen. You're not going to get away from it. There's going to be people who are going to take shortcuts. You can't fight them. You can't join them because you don't want to be a hypocrite.
You can't fight
But
them.
you can. Well, some of them I probably wouldn't want to fight
Violence is
unless
not
they're
the answer, but it's always the solution.
hmm, two wrongs don't make a right, but three lefts do. Um,
That was good. that,
you've never
that
heard
was
that
really
one?
good. No, I don't think I've heard that one before. That's why I was so shocked. I wish I could replay the clip. I literally went.
um, I mean, that's the thing is there's so much of it. There's so many different solutions out there. And the problem
Mhm.
is everybody's using the same backbone for it. And so you're getting all very same. And that just sucks for the artistic community because there's a lot of good artists. There's a lot of people that spend a lot of time developing their style and everything else.
Mhm.
But at the same time, they got a slightly bloated sense of self-worth because there was nothing to compete with them. Nobody was able to do what they did. So here's that hot take of yes, art is it was just like horses were the main thing for the
Mhm.
longest time. I saw that clip the other day about how, horses were everywhere. Then 10 years later, it was a Neil deGrasse Tyson clip.
Oh yeah,
In
the
10
story of
years
the horse is like, oh, it's fine because
in New York.
these cars are here to have us do the less bad jobs, so now we can work the more fancy jobs, and then they were just gone.
And you couldn't give horses away. You couldn't sell them.
Hmm.
That kind of became some of the digital art realm. Now, canvas painting and things like that, I still think people will be able to tell the difference between a hand painted something versus a just generated and printed something.
Hmm.
But a lot of times, and I feel bad because it seems very callous that, but it's the same thing. People have a problem with how much they have to pay a plumber to do something. You don't want to call a plumber because it's going to be expensive,
Hmm.
hundreds of dollars per hour, whatever. But it's a specialist, it's a specialty. There's no easy replacement for it. But because AI paying somebody 100 and some dollars for this piece and then having to work with them for weeks and weeks to get it, or paying $30 and just trying 15 times and then getting something close enough to what you want because of how well they're able to train based on the resources available to them on the crazy interwebs, they're able to generate something close. But there's always that little piece inside of it. So as long as you're not, a perfectionist, you're going to be okay with it. And let's be honest, 90% of it are those people that are okay with the quick and cheap. There are still people that are going to want to pay a person to do their art. They're going to want to pay them. And I'm for the most, I'm not going to probably use much AI generated art pieces. Now, as obvious, my intro song was an AI generated song, but I still love it.
Hmm.
It's catchy and everything else. It's funny. Um,
I think the main flaw and the main
mhm,
problem I have with the camp, which I the camp is it's the camp that I side with of pay artists. I mean, it really goes within my field, right?
mhm,
Film is an art. What I see it as it's the combination of all sound, music, imagery, storytelling. It's all the art combined into film. But to me, the main argument that they have that I disagree with is, oh well, you can't replace the human creativity. Creativity isn't magic. It only seems so because our understanding of how the brain has this idea of creativity, our knowledge on that is so limited. We don't know what the brain does to create ideas, to pull from inspiration, because no matter what I write, for example, you can't, like a quote my best friend told me, you can't write what you don't know. It's impossible. Can't do it. You might be like, well, how did they make sci-fi? That comes from inspiration from something that the writer has seen somewhere out there, subconsciously or consciously. That's how it works. But creativity is a thing. It's a tangible thing that happens in your brain that, when understood, can be directly applied to artificial intelligence. And when it is, and when it's understood, then what's the argument? There is no argument. So the argument of, oh, you can't replace the human creative intrigue, the human creative mind, that's not really an argument because it's not magic. You're not pulling from nothing, you're pulling from something. The
Mhm.
brain is a machine, granted, could be the most complex machine in the universe that we know of. It's still a machine, though.
Mhm.
It could
But
be
and how many
replicated
of
at some
these
point.
the other side of that is how many of these artists are actually doing anything original?
That's
How many of them are pulling from other how many of them are pulling places and other sources, pretty much doing the exact same thing that AI is doing when
it.
generating
It then becomes an argument. What do you consider copying
what is art?
or plagiarism, and what do you consider inspiration? Where's that line for you?
That line anymore is extremely blurred because of the access to information.
Because I can.
That's been
Nolan's my favorite movie director. I could then, my film career could be then marked by his inspiration. Am I copying him now, or am I
mhm.
inspired by him? Right? There's a line there, but I don't think anyone seems to
you
know where that line is.
you're and you're never going to be able to define that line because it's based on a person's intentions. Are they trying
Which
to
you
change it to be their
can
own,
never
or are
prove.
they trying to do it themselves? Exactly.
Can never prove
Um,
intention. At
but
least beyond a shadow of a doubt.
mhm. So the AI, like Nas had mentioned, the AI to touch up emails, that helps me. I'm not a very floofy writer. I don't speak corporate. I don't like to speak corporate. I hate speaking corporate. I want to just tell you, here's what's going on. Here's what needs to be done. When can it be done? But if you send that message, you're not a team player. You're an asshole. Blah blah blah. So yeah, having AI be like, okay, clean this up for me, and then you sound like, oh, that one image of whatever program, it was a commercial on something where it's a dude, bro, like your cliche frat boy working in an office job. Hey, yo, what's the deal with this thing? When's it gonna be done? And then AI fix it up for me, and the manager's like, this came from who? Because it tells you it has all that coaching, it has all of those resources that's available, and is able to process it so much faster. It's the same. Like that's the hard part. I can't. Like I don't want to discredit artists in going into that field, but it's been a dying field for long before the
Hmm.
internet.
Only certain people stand out. Always. That's how it's always been.
Mhm.
I think, although, I mean, if we're going to stay on the topic of fields that are going to fizzle out, the one field that I'm 100% confident will just die in a couple of years is anyone who codes. I am sorry, it is that is done. I'll tell you right now, it's to the point where I take a Java class, or I took a Java class last semester. You want to know what happened? In this
Mhm.
syllabus, every single class I took this semester, and I've gotten in trouble for some of these classes because I use AI to touch up my vocabulary. I'm just, again, not my first language.
Mhm.
But for the Java class, the programming class,
Mhm.
you are allowed to use artificial intelligence. I will not check,
Mhm.
but use at your own demise, because when the test comes around and you don't know, so she's basically saying, I'm not going to punish you, but you're going to punish yourself. So if you want
Mhm.
to submit the labs and you didn't write them, you want to submit the homework and you didn't write that code, more power to you. I'll grade it according to what I see. But when you take the test, if you didn't study because you didn't do it, because the best way to learn how to code is to code. You
Doing it.
can't just read it. You have to actually code.
That's where I'll
Um,
disagree with you.
Really? You don't think it
Coding
will die?
jobs, it will not die because there are so many nuances and specific variables in the code that you have to know to look for and adjust. You can't just go, write me a code that does this. You have to then go in and edit that code to your specific environment.
I think
So that's the problem. That's the mindset where I'm talking about is enhancing versus replacing.
that's the
I
thing,
don't
though.
think it'll replace, it'll lessen, it can lessen the amount of availability in that field, which is why you see a lot of big tech
Mhm.
companies cutting thousands and hundreds of thousands of jobs because of the bloat from COVID, is because they overexpanded. It's everything's there. They don't need as many people to maintain it. Cuts back. AI
Mhm.
increases their efficiency, cuts back further.
I
It will
think it's
not
an
ever fully
exponential
be
thing.
replaced.
I think it's an exponential thing, though. So that's the stage that we could get to, and we will get to probably, where it requires somebody with some nuance to coding to
Mhm.
fully utilize the AI to write 90% of the code, and then you know exactly what prompts to tell it, and then even though you gave it the perfect prompts, you still have to touch up. I think it's exponential, though. You go from it not being able to code properly to it being able to code properly with the assistance of somebody who knows how to write this code, to then going to somebody who doesn't code, giving a random prompt and then getting it. I feel like it's gonna get to that point
No,
because
I don't think so.
I think AI is the best at things that make sense, that are linear. Even though there are a lot of or not linear things that are hard, like that have hard rules, right? And I feel like
Mhm.
coding is one of those things that have rules like that. So I don't know.
In
I don't
certain, yeah, in certain, it's that just comes from a various different exposures to various types of code.
know. Mm-hmm.
Um, because I've spent a lot of time looking at a bunch of different code, and I've actually used AI to help generate certain code. And when it comes to various pieces, it's close. But if you try and run what it sends you by default, it won't. It does it. Yeah, it's close, but it can break a lot of stuff. And so
Yeah.
you then do the prompt. Okay, this is the error I got. What should I do next? Okay, try this, and it'll give you the code slightly different, but it won't be exactly the same as what you did before, and something else will be broken that wasn't before. And so, okay, well, this is broken. Now what do I do? And so then you then exponentially compound your problem without realizing you, because it changes its focus every rendition that it does on that code. So that's something to, you got to keep that in mind.
Mm.
Because yes, it'll cover up one problem while creating another one that you don't recognize until you get 10 revisions down into the code. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is good for production. Well, okay, now this is done. This broke. How did this touch that? And you go back and read three revisions back. It actually left this line out that you forgot to modify because it went back to its original, and things along there's those nuances when it comes to that.
I
A
want to
lot
touch
of the,
Silver's question, by the way,
yep,
but
yep,
I did want to ask this.
yep.
Do you think? Well, in that case, I think more simplistic languages, like for me, I immediately think Python, because the one that I'm most
Mhm.
experienced in. Um, I love the most out of all. I'm biased. Python all the way for me. All right. I
Mhm.
think let's use Python for example, because it get a lot more complex than that. But at a base level with Python, do you think there will ever be in a call 10, 15 years where it gets to that point of it being efficient enough for that future that I'm predicting will come, for it to actually be a thing, to where AI can write you code with a very simplistic prompt that actually functions the way it's supposed to?
It all depends on what you're trying to accomplish with it. Yes, I believe a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the applications right on. It's the more complex situations where it's multiple different systems interacting together
Mm-hmm.
where it will struggle.
You want to know where I see this going?
Mhm.
Collaboration with the companies that own a lot of this firmware with the language modules themselves.
Mhm.
And then that way you have
Oh,
the
they're
language
starting.
module
That's
incorporated
you,
within the actual program.
and they're working on. That's why every place has.
Mm-hmm.
That's why every vendor and everything else is having their own AI building. They're no longer selling services, or they're no longer selling just product. They're selling a service.
Mm-hmm.
Everything goes to the subscription model. Everything goes to this,
I
and they
hate
do
that
this
so
for
much.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's
I mean, Nvidia made
it's
90% of their profit is AI now, not gaming. AI. That's insane. And that's all in a matter of 3 years, by the way.
Yeah. And that's because of the processing capability of GPUs, because of how much they're able to crunch in such a short time span. I mean, that's been a
Simple
thing for a
tasks,
long
but
time.
millions of times versus CPU. Complex tasks, but very
Simulations.
slowly.
Yep. Mm.
I love that explanation.
Okay,
It's like the most
Silver's
simplistic
question.
one. Yeah, Silver. Silver asks, if COVID didn't happen, do you think you would have ever gone into streaming? For me, I say yes.
Yes. Yes. For me, because that was part of the reason I got into it. But the other reason I got into it was because, honestly, because of a coworker who said, you know what? Because we started talking video games one time. He's like, have you ever done streaming? Have you ever looked at Twitch? I'd never really watched Twitch. I'd never really looked into live streaming. I was in the camp of, why the hell am I going to watch somebody play a game that I can go play?
Mm-hmm.
Which then brought up well, you watch football on Sundays, you can go outside and play football. Well, fuck you. um, but that was that was my mentality of, why am I going to watch somebody play a game that I can go and play myself? It's like, well, and now I see the appeal of it. Is, like I said, is you experienced it one way, you want to see somebody else experience it. I can't do a new game playthrough that I haven't seen. I can't watch somebody do that. I have to have experienced the game myself before I would watch somebody play it. So I would have gotten into it, but it would have been a different probably start.
Let me
Yes.
challenge that.
Challenge what?
So you said your friend is
Hmm?
one of the biggest reasons because why don't you stream it? But your friend most likely really heard about this whole concept or got into it like that because of the big streaming boom of COVID. And that's when most people started getting into like watching Twitch or even knowing about Twitch. So if that didn't happen, what if that conversation never took place?
No, he was streaming before COVID was a thing.
Okay.
Mhm.
Whatever.
Yep, he was streaming for a bit. He did his own thing. He had fun, but he was there before COVID. He just didn't want to talk to me about it too much because I was his boss.
Drama. What's going on,
Yeah,
Twiz? I do see you, by the way, Twizzler.
yeah.
Twizzler,
I think I still would have gotten into it at some point, but it would have been different. I wouldn't have started off with more. I would have not started with jump scare games. That was the big thing to start, to kind of gain, was the jump scares, the reactions, playing scary games, because those are the ones, as I found out, people don't want to play. They want to watch somebody else play. Because playing a scary game versus watching a scary game, two very different experiences.
And then Downey decided, let me download HUD effects. Worst mistake could have ever done. Honestly, just very poor decision making on your end, and by extension on my end too, because I learned about it from you, and then I started doing, and I just went downhill from there. I shouldn't have added that flashbang. That flashbang was actually so stupid. I don't know why I added it. It does nothing.
Flashbang, the dark screen. I got to go add some of the things I took off during. Yeah, there's a few jump scare things I have to add back in.
Poppy jump scare.
So, nope.
Why not? Is that the one that gets you, really?
No, the fucking hand is one that.
Really, that one where it just slides across the screen with blood?
No, where it just.
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen that one.
Yeah.
I've been working on adding
loud,
more
quick.
funny HUD effects instead of just scary ones because I feel like I've only been adding scary ones.
Well, that's what people want. They want to make you jump. They want to make you shit yourself.
Well, I want to keep my heart healthy for at least 10 more years.
Hey, my heart stays very healthy. Thank you very much. Pay no attention to the heart rate monitors during a scary game.
It honestly does not go up like I thought it would.
I've, again, 4 years into it because this sounds bad. How long ago was it we met? Was it half, 2 years?
We met 2 years ago. We met around the same time I met Gus, which would have been October 2022.
Yeah, that's what I said. I thought it was a couple of years. Yeah, early on, I that's why I don't do as many scary games anymore. Is because I got numbed to them somewhat.
2023, sorry. So it's about to be 2 years this year.
It is 2025. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got numb to them a little bit, to where it was like, okay. And there weren't that many like really good scary games coming out. There were cheesy jump scare bullcrap.
Jump scare fantasies.
Yeah. So I stopped playing them as much. And so when I would play them, I was just kind of, yeah, okay. It scared me a bit. That got me good. The my heart rate goes up higher in boss fights and Souls likes than it does in scary games.
Okay,
The
that's
adrenaline of a
valid
boss
though.
fight
That is
is
valid.
nuts.
That is very valid. Those boss fights get fucking intense, and for good
Mm-hmm.
reason. I cannot tell you. I cannot. Ooh, fighting Ishin for the first time on Sekiro and getting to that third stage.
Oh, the fucking the surprise third stage. I was so mad.
Uh, my heart was about to explode because
Shake it once, that's fine.
cut right there, cut right there. Before we start talking about that,
We go into blood. We go into
I
Soulsborne,
would love to go into
Souls likes. We would
Soulsborne.
talk about all. We would discuss those all night.
It's such. You know what? Let me segue into that real quickly.
Mhm.
For the longest time, I didn't understand why those games were appealing. I used to watch them on YouTube, and I had no intention of ever playing any of them. I really didn't. I thought the graphics looked stupid, like horrible for at least the current gen. Which, to be fair, like they're not the most beautiful games. They have beautiful scenery, they have beautiful landscapes, but the actual textures themselves, they're not the prettiest. The combat looked clunky to me. Like the character didn't have fluid movements; it was more arcadey. And keep in mind, I'm talking from the perspective of somebody who doesn't play those games. And I was like, why would I ever waste my time? I'll go play Red Dead 2. That was around the time Red Dead 2 came out. I didn't play those games until 2018. Finished Red Dead 2, felt empty because of the story. It inspired
Yep, you
my
can't talk about. Shh.
yeah.
Yep.
As,
Don't want to talk
as
about it.
FYI,
Don't want to know about
inspired
it.
my cowboy story. It went from my story went from literally a Red Dead 2 ripoff to now its own thing. That's how usually ideas develop. Um,
Mhm.
uh, I
Is it stealing or
downloaded
inspiration?
it definitely. I will say there's a
Which
lot
one?
of story beats that are Red Dead 2. I was gonna say
I
Red
know,
Dead
but was
1.
it stealing or inspiration? Remember,
There
you were
you
saying
go.
which one was which.
Honestly, I would
See,
wager
it's
to say
hard to.
inspiration
Yeah.
now, but at the time, 100% stealing. I shamelessly even just
Okay. Sorry. Anyway,
but
you were saying.
I Bloodborne was free on PS Plus, so I was like, let me try it out. I've been a hater. Try it out.
Mm-hmm.
Hated it. Fucking hated it. I'm not, this is one of those stories where I launched a game like I've been wrong my entire life. I said this is stupid because I couldn't get past it.
Couldn't get past the fucking dog.
Dude, I could not. I was like, I couldn't figure out how to lock on, and I was like, this is so.
It even tells you.
I know. Oh, this is stupid. I hate it. Fuck this game. I'm never playing another Soulsborne game. You're stupid. And then I let it go. And then say 6 months passed by. I had nothing to play. It was a pretty bad time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Not like horrible, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And usually that's when I discover the greatest things. when things get low.
When things go bad, you
Filmmaking, when
make
things were
discovery.
horrible. My favorite Assassin's Creed game, things were horrible, and then I played that. Things were horrible, and then I was like, you know what? Let me give Bloodborne a try. I hate myself already. Why not hate myself some more? Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for some reason when I had empty thoughts and I had no plans with anybody, and I had no like I just my whole focus was on that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I saw it in a completely different light. I was more patient, and then I played, and then I understood. I think what really unlocked it for me, or really just made me hooked, was when I would open a door and I'm like, man, every fucking door is, can I open from this side? I'm like, this is stupid. And then I walked around, and then it opened. I'm like, oh, this door opens, and then I realized,
Shortcut.
and then that's when I got hooked. As funny as it sounds, it wasn't the bosses, it wasn't the mechanics, it was literally the fact that I made a full circle, and then I saw how
The
the
map
connects.
traversal for shortcuts.
I was like, this is good. Now I want to play now. And then I kept playing, and then the soundtracks kept getting better. I got the DLC, fought Ludwig. Thought, well, he was the best boss to ever exist. Thought that was the best soundtrack in any game ever. I was like, I got obsessed. I got obsessed, genuinely. And I thought parrying by shooting.
It's fucking cool.
Fuck do you mean? That's so cool. How does that work? So I was like, I'm buying the next game when it comes out. Luckily, it was 2019. Sekiro.
Okay.
on release, on release. So I'm hype. I already pre-ordered. I'm like, I even like I got the it was a mail opener. It's the it's Sekiro Sword. It's pretty cool. I still have it. Um, but while the game's coming, I'm like, you know what? Let's play through Dark Souls 1 through 3. Did it? Fucking loved it. Dark Souls 3 is still till this day second favorite Souls game. Let's go Sekiro, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and then Elden Ring. And that's not to say Elden Ring is bad. It's just those in terms of my enjoyment. I
Mhm.
Dark Souls 3 just hits a spot. That medieval fantasy part of my brain just hits it really well. Um, but I'm like I'm ready. I'm gonna fucking destroy Sekiro, and then it comes out, and I'm like, what is this? I didn't hate it, but I got really frustrated. There's no dodging. What I was taught this entire time, which is to keep my distance, now I have to put pressure on. That's the whole point. And there's deflecting. There's more timing. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then what made Sekiro my favorite game is it was less about leveling up, increasing your health, and doing all this. It was more about, oh, you suck at this boss. Too bad. Go fight him again, and again, and again, and again, and again. It's like hitting a piece of metal as a blacksmith, right? And like getting it into shape until it's finally at that correct shape, and then you win. It's you start learning the boss. You start memorizing those attack patterns. Instead of you
And
start
remember,
recognizing what
and
the deflections are, right? Instead of
mapping
spamming,
the Morse code of
you
the
literally like ding
timing and the
ding 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 ding
delays.
ding.
Yep.
It's just all fits together. And the reason why I think Ishin, the final boss, is the best boss for me in all Soulsborne is because is he has a gun, he has a spear, he has a sword, he has the dash attack, and he has every single type of attack that you've learned to expect in this game. Here's one guy. Figure it out. Let's see how good you are. And it's the soundtrack, the scenery, and it's poetic because you find him in the same field that you got beat in the first game and in the beginning of the game. And
Hmm.
it's definitely the Soulsborne game where it's less about lore and more about an actual story. Because I feel like most of these games have lore. They don't really
Ask
have a
any
story.
regular Joe to explain Dark Souls.
I
I
can't.
I
I can't.
can't tell you the lore. It's a great game. I love
Mm-hmm.
the challenge.
Most Soulsborne games are, to me, and that's not a criticism. That's just how I see them. They're lore. They're not story. They're just a bunch of lore together. And if you really want to seek it out, seek it out. Sekiro was more
It's
here's
a
the
very good
story.
story.
You don't make a character. Here's a story, and I really
It's more
enjoyed
linear.
that.
It's a linear story instead of a piece the puzzles together to figure out what it is.
Exactly. But that wasn't why I liked it. It was more so the idea of throwing your head at something enough times to and then get it done. And Sekiro was my first case ever of I can't beat this boss. I'm going to sleep. Wake up in the morning, beat him second try. First case.
Mhm.
Genuinely, that's when I realized if I'm ever struggling
And
on a
it's
boss, I'll just go to
nuts.
sleep. I'll just go to sleep. Somehow it always works. 100% of the time, I beat
Mhm.
him without fail.
Yeah, my Soulsborne started off with the original Demon Souls. Um, back on PS, what was it, PS2 or it was
Hmm.
PS3, I think.
No, it's
First
PS2.
Demon Souls.
I think it's PS2, man. Let me double check. I have to figure this out now.
Yeah, double check. But I didn't. It wasn't even mine. I was over again at a coworker's place, and he was like, I got this game, and I'm having a fucking hard time. I can't get past this one point. I'm like, sure, I'll take a look, but show me where you're at. And he starts playing it and going through, and I'm like, okay, it's an RPG. It's okay. Are you using a dagger? It
It
doesn't
is
seem like it's going to
PS3.
work too much on that super stony guy. It's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
very good. And
Mm,
I'm like,
you,
okay,
you
what
had
what
logic.
class did you pick? He's like, well, I started with a thief because I was going to be sneaky. I'm like, it's an RPG. You never play a thief your first time through an RPG. It's very hard because they're usually very specialist style of a
Mm-hmm.
class. Like, start with it. Let's just start over and start with the pyromancer. And he did, and then we went through and like beat boss. Went through world 1, 1, 1, 2, and then got to the boss of 1, 2, which if you know Demon Souls, you don't go after that boss that soon. Um, and decided to not continue on,
You
and
got
then
bad.
went through. Yeah, you need to have upgraded stuff before you go try and fuck with him.
By the way,
Um,
2009 is the year.
that sounds about right.
I was 8 years
So I would
old.
have been there. 3 years into my first major job.
Sorry, Downey.
That was when I was that was when I took on that giant global exchange migration project where I was the youngest person, newest to the team, in charge of like 50-some-year-old guys who have been in the networking industry and server admin for a while. They're like, you're gonna run this project. Okay. And then I
Do I have any
did, and
tools?
I
No.
fucking killed it. And I was like, yep. Because I went there just expecting, do my part for my small site. And like, oh, by the way, you're leading that. Yeah, that's fun. But no, the main thing I could say that a lot of Soulsborne haters and everything else, they're all like, oh, why would you play something? It's so difficult. Why would you keep doing it? Until you beat your first boss.
Yeah.
Like once you beat that first boss and you get that feeling of exactly, that's Jaeger just walked past, and that was what made me think of the story, is she was, very, and then she tried Lies of P on her own. And when she beat the parade master and got that rush
Yeah.
of beating the parade master, she was
It's
she's
crack.
like, okay,
Bro,
I
it's
understand.
crack. It's crack. It's
It's good.
100% crack.
You're going to, oh, wow, yeah, going to bed. Okay.
Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
10:50.
Yeah.
All right, well, 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. Make it 11. Make it 11.
I'm about to say I'm fine.
I have work at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Ooh, that sucks. But no, like the Soulsborne games are great. They're fantastic. My top one is probably still Bloodborne because I just loved the atmosphere, the soundtrack. I mean, the graphics weren't great, but it still was a great game. It still seemed very fluid for what it was. It forced you to break out of the original piece that taught you was block and attack. There's no block in Bloodborne. That was the big thing when it came out. There was no block. Shit. Okay, what do I do? They give you a little wooden shield, by the way, if you notice through that first area, and get a wooden shield, and you can equip it. It breaks immediately.
Yep.
It serves no. That was a fun mechanic. But yeah, Bloodborne is still very much at the top. I gotta agree with Dark Souls 3. Sekiro, I did not play until after I'd done Dark Souls. I did Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and then Sekiro. And then after Sekiro, I did Bloodborne. That was the weirdest transition of timeline of games.
So odd. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I take it you're not the biggest fan
of Sekiro?
Yeah.
No, I liked it. I just haven't. I only played through it the once.
It's so much.
I haven't done a replay. We started the second playthrough, but I had to. We did that as a marriage counseling thing one time where Jaeger and I were playing through it at the same time and tracking
racing
our deaths.
Yeah, I remember that.
And seeing how far we get. But I had to use mouse and keyboard.
I have you here now. We need to do that. Me and you need to do a Sekiro race. Like one stream, cap it at 2 hours, right? Or not even on, bro. It doesn't even. I don't care if it doesn't even have to be on stream. Just an event, 2 hours. Let's see who's further at the 2 hour point. Or let's count it by bosses. Who beat the most bosses?
I was about to say, is it beating the most bosses, and what counts as a boss? Anybody with a double health bar?
Who beat the most mainline bosses? I'm not gonna count side bosses.
Main story bosses.
You can with the side bosses. If I did all of them, you can quickly rack that up just by cheesing it very fast. So mainline.
That's why I was. Yeah, we'd have to quickly establish the rules on that but at the same time, if it's only mainline bosses, you can shortcut quite a bit through that to get straight up to them.
You can shortcut, but then you lose a lot of buffs. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're cooked. I'm gonna cook you in that. I'm sorry. I played the game so many times. You're done. I would never do Bloodborne against you though.
I think I got it done in an hour and a half, start to finish.
Really? I want to do a deathless run on Bloodborne. I just don't on stream. I just don't want to bust out a PS4. That's why I really want them to release it on the PC so badly.
They won't. That's going to be their PS6 sell or something, most likely.
They're not going to. They're
They're
just not good.
supposedly doing the Final Fantasy IX remake. Anyway, we completely won. I don't even remember
Yeah,
what we were talking about before
we were
that.
talking about literally just the Bloodborne, or like from
Oh,
Soft and how.
Soulsborns
Yeah,
and things like that, and what got us. Well,
La-
because it was.
Lies of P DLC. Ugh.
Well, here's the fun part. I originally beat Lies of P on Game Pass. It's no longer on Game Pass.
Really, I really do
So
want
I
to
bought it for
replay
the
it
PlayStation.
just to
So
get a
I'm
better
playing through
ending.
it now with a different character. I'm going a different build. This is my
Mhm.
offline thing that I'm working on. As I'm going through playing it with it was whatever the strength was, then dexterity. The technique was dexterity. Advanced. I'm going through an advanced play, which was the second playthrough I did on Bloodborne. The first one I did the Kirk Hammer, I think, all the way through. And then I did an advanced playthrough with there's a weird ass weapon. I don't remember what it was. Or whatever the magic or arcane equivalent was in Bloodborne. And that was fun.
Hmm.
It
Silver
was
wants to ask a
difficult.
question.
Oh no.
Before
That was my
defensively,
Reese, not Jaeger. It was my own. I bought my own stash of Reese cup.
before she asked that question,
Mm.
to me, I think Liza P excels in one thing, and it's atmosphere. That game was probably the prettiest Souls. Lords of the Fallen might take that though. Now that I'm playing through it, I can't comment too much on it because I haven't finished it. But now that I'm
Oh,
playing
it's
through
so
it,
good.
it's so pretty. It is a bit jank the co-op. I hope they keep fixing it because I attempted it with a friend and that's why I got it. He gave me the friend pass
Oh, you were doing the
and
friend pass. Okay.
yeah, and then I ended up just buying it because I enjoyed it enough to buy it. Plus, it was $20, so I bought it. Good price. Do you want to form an alliance with me? But for real, if you were starting streaming now, is there anything you would do differently today in
Ooh.
2025? That's such a hard question to answer though, because your family situation would be completely differently. The way you guys talk to each other would be different as well. Your I don't know. I feel
Oh
like
no, that's not a difficult. Yes, I would definitely do things differently.
no, I'm saying
Certain,
like
I would
I was thinking about more so to define what you would be doing differently, not whether you
what I
do
would be
differently
doing
now.
differently when
Yeah.
streaming. If I was starting, um, there would be a lot less Dance Monkey Dance type of redemptions and things. If I'm being honest, it'd be a lot less of that.
Do you
Less
regret
torture,
adding
so to
those in?
speak. Yes,
Why is that? Or I guess
because
why did you add them to
sometimes
begin with? And I know why,
I
but why'd
added
you?
them in for interaction. I added them
Mm,
in for draw and just something to give people a good laugh.
mm-hmm.
It was stuff that I don't mind doing it. I don't mind making myself an ass of myself. It's fine to a degree. Um, but getting to a certain level, then I'm like, okay, this is either painful or distracting or something. It gets to a certain extent where it's like, this isn't really fun anymore. I don't like it. I don't like it. And so I phase a lot of stuff out um, because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, okay, like fart jokes. They're funny. They're always funny. Like if you tell a fart joke, yeah, it's great. But if you tell 100 fart jokes
It's not funny anymore.
in a 3 hour period, we're all still going to fucking laugh. But if you change to a poop joke randomly, then it's not as funny.
Yeah.
I defeated my own purpose in that the making a joke, but I would change a lot of the ways. I would have probably thought a little bit more about kind of. I don't have an online persona, but my branding a bit because the whole reason behind the Downy Blade was just because I liked swords. That's it. Nothing crazy. Nothing super deep. I like swords. And
Self
then the kingdom
deprecation.
piece. Yeah, the kingdom piece was just all that. And then it's like, okay, well, I mean, Monty Python's got a bunch of funny little bits. Let's just kind of have a Monty Python style of Holy Grail, and just kind of stuck with that because I do like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but I never expected to kind of I didn't know what I was doing. It's just that's what I started with, and so I've continued with it. I would knowing what I know now. Yeah, I would have put a bunch of different things into the handle and to the general theme of the channel, but not too much. 'Cause I know a lot of that stuff is what kind of helped me build the relationships that I've built. So that's the kind of that's the balance of
It's such a hard balance.
Yeah, doing some stupid shit like that. I'll always do stupid shit.
I struggle with it.
I don't mind
I struggle with it
because,
though, big time.
but what I've learned from you know my stomach revolting on me many times is I can't do that much stupid shit. I can't do V8s and eggnog and pickles and olives and lots of sour candy and things like that. Expect to get a good night's sleep. So that's why a lot of that stuff kind of got taken off a bit because I would be doing so much sugar or eating a lot of random things. And now I'm doing it without redemption, very snacky as the night goes on. But I wouldn't get
Hmm.
good sleep after stream because I'd go till I'd be tired and I'd go to bed, but then I'd have so much shit in my stomach or in my system that I couldn't actually sleep. So I would definitely change those pieces a bit.
That's a hard one for me. There's a reason why I haven't um I put a hard uh stop to self-deprecation with me because not because I take myself too seriously. It's more so because I feel like I don't take myself seriously enough. Um, for
You have a hard enough time taking yourself seriously. You don't need people helping you distract from that.
No, I feel like I don't portray the. I struggled with this a lot as a kid. This needs some context. I felt like the only way to get people to like me as a kid was to make a fool out of myself, be the center of that attention, and then they laugh with me. That means they like me 100%. That means they like me. Very flawed logic in hindsight, but that's how I thought about it as a middle schooler. I must do something stupid. I must oops, I ate this thing that I wasn't supposed to eat. Ha ha ha. And now everybody laughs, so now everybody likes me, right? That's how I saw it. Um as I grew older, I realized whoa, people are laughing at me. What a revelation. Uh and so you have a healthy childhood or are you funny now? That's so
I
that's all I'm
think
thinking
people
actually.
laugh.
I
I
I don't know. It's
had a good childhood. I was very lucky.
it's I mean,
And I
make
happen
it
to be kind of be funny because of that childhood.
yeah. I don't think it's a hard it's a hard line like a
Normally
requirement.
though,
You have to be
it's
depressed to be funny, right?
there's a stereotype for a reason. All
Hmm.
right.
But
That
now
rule
that I
fits a
stream,
lot.
I feel like I want to portray myself as someone who is capable of being funny at my own expense sometimes, but at the
Mhm.
same time have a talk with Lee, have a serious conversation, be taken seriously. I don't want to block myself into a stream of content creation that can never be serious. People always expect a certain thing from me. People always expect a sound alert
It
to
is
be active.
100% possible to have a serious conversation while wearing a unicorn horn. I'm just saying.
It's just I don't want to set the expectation to an audience that if I take this, that so much so that if I take this sound alert away or take this HUD effects effect away, oh, you betrayed me. This is what I come
Mhm.
to expect all the time. So that's why, like, when you mentioned that, that hit for me, because that's something I worry about maybe too much.
Mhm.
I don't ever want to be, oh, Binge, he's the guy that broke his monitor. That's it. It's literally all I am. I don't want that. Now, I did break my
You're not.
monitor.
You also
Yes.
do gymnastics.
Yeah. It is funny, right? But at the same time,
You mean you don't
I
want to
don't
be known
want to.
for eating a spider?
I rein myself in. I really do. Because sometimes, because like I said, I didn't break my monitor for the clip. I didn't jump over that thing for the clip. Brother, I'd do that off stream. But now I'm like, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, eating a spider on stream sounds. I'm sorry. There's no amount of fucking money on this earth, or redemption points. That Danny, why?
So eat a spider or play Lies of P DLC.
The closer it gets to more, I'm actually excited about it. I haven't played a Soulsborne game in a while. Lords of the Fallen's kind of when we talked about it last time. I wasn't playing Lords of the
Mhm.
Fallen. Now that I played
Mhm.
Lords of the Fallen, I've gone into that. I swear, it's a mindset. that
That
Souls
game's so
mindset.
unique, and it was such a fun playthrough.
It's
I enjoyed it.
so. I wish the tutorial was a bit better because it took me a while to really grasp the whole
The
shroud
lantern.
lantern stuff,
Mhm.
especially activating it on and off, going into the realm, getting out of the realm. That was really annoying at the beginning. But overall,
Oh,
it's
it
so
gets
unique in its
annoying.
execution, and it's like it makes it different enough to where hey, we are doing this thing inspired by FromSoft, but there's enough different here to. I love the throwing
It
system.
is.
The
It
range
is. It is
system
from Soft mixed with Soul Reaver. Do you remember that?
that's got to be official, right? Because that's way too accurate, especially with the shroud.
No. It's,
There's got to
mhm.
be a fit. There's got to be like
Bec-
the way it just works. It's got to be like somebody in there said that exact same line.
mhm. Where
Uh,
we go between alternate universes.
hmm
You go into the land of the dead.
I do not. By the way, I think I
Raziel
think
did the same. Yeah,
the story and the lore is cool enough to me to where I actually don't want anything spoiled for Lords of the Fallen. I really want to know what the
that's
hell is
fine. I'm not
going
saying
on.
anything about it, but it gets very soulsy, lore wise.
Mm.
Is all I'm going to say. And so if you end up, feel free to run your lore stuff and tell me about it. I would love to hear somebody else's experience on the lore because
Question.
it's different depending on there are decision trees that you go down depending on your build and things like that that can impact things in theory. Again, remember I played through it once.
Question.
Hmm?
It was two questions. What's your favorite Soulsborne boss from FromSoft? Not anything else. Like Soulsborne, not Souls like. And what's your favorite lore from FromSoft in a Soulsborne game? I feel like those two are going to be two different answers, but they could be the same game.
Nope. Okay, gut reaction. The dancer in Dark Souls 3.
Really?
Just because of the atmosphere, the music, the move set, and the fire and ice combination.
That is cool, but to me, Dark Souls 3, Nameless King immediately. Immediately.
The was that the cloud fight?
Yes. With the drag, he comes on. He comes
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
dragon,
I
and
hated
then
that fight
he.
so fucking much. It was
Why?
yeah, no. I hated that fight so
Dude,
fucking much.
Nameless King is badass, man. Come
Yeah, he
on.
is. And I hated the damn because it
Did he kick your ass?
if you didn't get good at non-targeting attacks, it was a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah,
And
and getting back to him
a
was
lot of
so
my
annoying.
the dancer I just liked as again, I don't have all of those bosses cataloged in my head anymore because
hmm
through them. The dancer is just one that stood out.
It's unique. It's a
Just I
unique
just
boss. Yeah.
yeah that they've ripped off many times.
What about lore?
Lore piece patches
Not lore piece. I mean the game as a whole.
patches in every game.
So you just picked
There's
a piece.
there is a reference to a character of patches or a patches like character in every game.
Really? You're an Easter egg fan.
It's just it was a fun thing that
hmm
they've done. Not yeah, Easter egg ish, but just a fun. That to
How
me
come
was
I don't know
again,
about this? I feel like I should know about this.
yeah, patches was in every single one of them.
I don't even know patches to begin with, like as a
Okay,
concept.
patches is the guy that kicks you off the ledge down to find all the shinies. He's the spider in Bloodborne that if you go down after the you down into the mud.
Who was he in Sekiro?
I don't know who the patches was in Sekiro. I know there's a reference somewhere for him, but I can't tell you that one. Remember,
So
played
it sounds
Sekiro
like the
once.
the
Well,
the thing that starts your game.
it's just one of those. It was just a funny thing that he showed up, like, especially when he showed up in Elden Ring. I laughed my ass off when I found him and how the interaction with him goes in Elden Ring. Yeah, that was just to
Fine,
me that
Downey.
was
I'll replay all of them. I'll replay all of
mhm.
them.
Replay all of them and find patches. Um, that lore wise, that was one of my yeah. But again, I wasn't a lore fanatic or story fanatic on any of those games. I played them solely for the struggle because of that. It was that whole this is a hard game. No, it's not. I'm
hmm
gonna fucking beat it. Okay, this is now I really have to.
I
type of a
I
thing.
I will give Elden Ring one thing. If I had to give it
It's
anything,
fucking huge.
I love when my boss fights make me feel like I'm fucked by the soundtrack. Godric stands out to me. When Godric goes into his second phase, when he cuts his arm off and attaches the dragon, and it goes to this immediate choir, just like I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
and then he does the little fire spray. I'm like,
Fucking
why,
Radon. Ugh.
why? Oh no, no! Radon was a direct reaction to all the streamers reacting to that one character in Sekiro that came from the kite and storms you down. Like Radon was literally just the upgraded version of that.
I
I
hated the
loved it.
kite fuckers.
I loved
Ugh.
it. I loved it so much because I was lucky enough to not get spoiled. I refused to watch anything, so I didn't know Radon was gonna do that. And and then when I see the beam of light, I'm like, no fucking shot. My reaction was like, you know that meme with Defoe looking up like scared. Basically, my
Mhm.
reaction. I was like,
Nice.
what do I do at that point? I wasn't even mad that I died and
Nothing.
lost the progress. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Liza P had me like that a lot. Liza P had a lot of moments to me where I wasn't mad that I died. I was just like, you did not
What
do
am I
this
supposed
attack.
to do now?
No, like you did not do this attack the past 50 attempts. So what the fuck is this? What are you doing? Like it was with the I can't think of the boss. It's I don't know the name. It's a boss where half of it is a monster, the other half is he turns around and then the other half is a
The priest.
monk with a priest, yeah. So he
Yeah,
had
the
this
priest
attack
on
where he
the.
charges up and then slams on the floor. Did it only one time. I'm like, I even have a clip. I'm like, what was that?
I remember.
Why? And then he never did it again. Legit never did it again. Why do you do that? Liza P has a lot of that. A lot of bosses will do their attack one time,
And
never
it
do it
all
again.
because of the RNG depends how close you stay to them, how far away you stay from them. Like it, a lot of the RNG is kind of influenced by that. It was very weird.
Very good
And the
game.
fact that a lot of the bosses were able to change attacks by milliseconds, they were able to stagger them just enough to not let you get the perfect parry. Mm.
Can I tell you one thing? It is a little stupid how I went through the entire game with the starting saber. The entire game, I didn't switch my weapon. The only thing I switched in my starting saber was the handle. It's the only thing I did.
What did you do? Put the police baton handle on it?
No, forgot what I put.
That would have been pretty on brand.
I did have another weapon. It was a heavier weapon. I forgot what I can't beat.
You've blacked most of that out. It's
Yeah,
understandable.
but I don't know why I went with the starting saber. Okay, actually no, I do remember. It was not the damage. It was not the look. It
It was
was
the moveset.
the moveset was really nice. Like
The moveset's based off the handle, not the blade.
it was quick enough. It was quick. I don't know.
It's still based off the handle.
I might have switched. I know I switched it near the end of the game, but I don't know what I switched it to. I don't know what I switched it to. I kept the starting handle and the starting sword throughout the entire fucking game. I just kept upgrading until I couldn't anymore. I refused to use another. My chat was yelling at me. Do this, do that. I'm like, no. I like my saber.
This isn't working. I'm not able to beat this boss, but I won't change anything because why would I move to a weapon that might be more effective?
Funnily enough, the swamp boss, before I broke my monitor, was the first boss to make me change weapons, and it didn't help. It didn't help at all. I hate that bitch. I hate that bitch. I genuinely, with all my heart, you know what? Here we go. Least favorite bosses in everything Soulsborne, Souls-like related. That motherfucker. I hope they scrap him.
Oh, I know exactly which one that is for me. It's the whatever the clock tower bitch was in Bloodborne.
That's what. Okay, this is the weird thing.
That's the thing we've had this discussion on many times.
You struggle with something I don't. Every single player has an experience. Everybody thinks this boss is easy except for you. Everybody thinks this boss is hard except for you. It's so weird how that works. Because the swamp boss, everybody was telling me, oh, really? That wasn't that bad. To me, it was literally my
2 attempt, and that was it.
It was my boulder that I was pushing up the hill. I could not. Every time I made any progress, I felt 10 steps back. 1 step forward, 10 steps back. It was that second phase. The attack pattern was so
It was such a
Awful.
because it went right back to the electronic policeman from the earlier area
Yeah,
with a
mixed in
few
with
extra
poison.
pieces
Ugh.
with the little tentacle bits.
I could not parry the tentacle bits at all. That's what kept killing me.
Well, that's what got me with the bitch face in Bloodborne is I could never get the parry time.
What was the name of that one boss? In Liza P, that lady with the armor and she had lightning.
Oh, the lightning bitch. There's
Lightning,
something
that's what she
about
called her.
laxative.
Yes, something. Yeah, yeah. That was second coolest boss fight. My favorite one, though, I'm gonna just be cliche. Honestly, my favorite one is the nameless puppet.
That was a cool fight.
He's the mirror. Story wise, he just again. I love poetry. I love when you wrap your story tightly in a nice little
Hmm.
knot. Right. He's fighting the reflection of himself without a heart.
I can't answer that offhand. Favorite boss fight and least favorite boss fight. I mean, the
And
one of like the dancer was the one that came to mind, but if
I'm just saying, like
like
in
one of the
terms of
most
Liza
unique,
P
like the
specifically,
Moonlight Butterfly was a really cool, unique boss.
I do like the four monkeys in Sekiro.
Yeah, the
I
invisible.
thought
Oh, I
as far
hated
as
those fuckers.
if we're talking about unique, I think that was a pretty
Mm-hmm.
unique concept in terms of like let's switch it up.
Mm-hmm.
Most beautiful boss fight, like scenario wise, it's a tie for me
Mm-hmm.
between Elden Beast. I know we don't like that boss fight because in my opinion I thought it was underwhelming for what
It was a very underwhelming finale.
the grand scale that is Elden Ring. But in terms of the music, the ambience of it, it was really cool. It's a tie between that and the Divine Dragon in Sekiro.
Okay, all right.
Divine Dragon definitely left me speechless. For me, I'm more susceptible to soundtrack more so than visuals. For me, I listen to a lot of
Mine's more
soundtracks for
mechanics.
stuff. Mechanics, really.
Mhm. I like a boss that has
Ooh,
good mechanics.
I can't think of
Where
a
you
boss impressive in its mechanics. I can't think of that. I can't think of one. I kind of dismiss the mechanics sometimes.
like the panel van trio, and Bloodborne. That's what I called them. The shadows. There were the three of them, and one did uh, had nothing but range. One did a flamethrower, and then one did a long range fireball.
Oh, like the three different types that you have to juggle
Yeah,
around.
like Ornstein and Smaug. Like that fight was really cool because depending on which one you killed first, determined what the second phase was going to look like.
Oh yeah, I remember that with Liza P with the four brothers or the four siblings, I should say.
Mm.
Fuck that fight. That's another fight. And remember, you were watching my stream, or I rated you.
Mhm.
Sorry, I rated you. I was like, I beat them. I hope I never see them again. You're like, yeah, you'll never see them
Sure,
again. And I'm like, oh
totally never
my
see them
god,
again.
why are you ruining my goddamn day? And the second fight was actually easier
It
to
was
me,
very, very much,
way easier.
but it was just more fun raining on your fucking parade.
I know. I do that. There's the Liza P was definitely
You
like
have
the
so
game.
much PTSD from Lies of P. It's amazing.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I've had my moments with every Souls game, but Lies of P was the one game that really left a mark on me. Like every Souls game,
You
it's
left a
give or
mark on
take.
your monitor too.
Fuck off. Every Souls game, I can remember some bosses. I can forget some bosses. Lies of P, it till now it feels fresh. I keep remembering the bosses. I keep remembering the events. I keep remembering why I hated or loved this boss. I don't know why it stuck with me. Maybe because it's the first Souls game that I streamed from beginning to end. I've never streamed a Souls game from beginning to end. Every time I've streamed them in pieces, that was the first one where I sat down, started, finished, all on stream. Never played it off stream. So maybe that's why it stuck with me because there was more of an interaction there. But I don't know. It really left a mark on me and my monitor. Haha.
It left you because you had to think about what you done did for a week at a time.
Yeah, I was in the middle of
You didn't
playing.
just.
I was sorry. I just got off playing Assassin's Creed, and I was like, I want to go back. That was so much more fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're making a
Going
second
through
one, by
Elden
the
Ring
way.
and seamless co-op was amazing. That was a very different experience of Elden Ring. Having six people going through the entire time with it scaling
You're talking about Kane Phil.
ridiculously. Yeah,
Okay, that's why
that
I
was
saw that.
nuts.
I was like, you guys are braver than I am because I just knowing off the health pool how massive it is probably now for the regular enemy is insane.
That was
Um,
nuts.
You could probably
Well,
just
and also
stagger
because
kill them, even if they have large health pools. It's just they just stagger die them.
you'd think, but that's only if everybody plays min max style, which nobody did. So you remember you had 6 people increase, but you don't necessarily have 6 equivalent damage dealers.
Mm-hmm.
You have 6 people doing whatever the fuck they want for fun, trying to go through that.
I love you, Kane Phil, but your streams stress me out. The amount of shit that's going on, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. I don't know how they do it.
Chaos is what they thrive in.
I don't know how they keep it together. Like know what's going on. Genuinely, it's
like
it's too much
especially
for
like
me.
the RimWorld things. Oof, it's insane.
Yeah,
It's good times though. It's always fun.
they are. But yeah, as far as Liza P, they are releasing a second one. Are you gonna buy Elden Ring 9 Gale or Night Rain? Sorry.
Probably, but you have to have like it's a solo or trio, isn't it?
The whole point of the game is that it's like, oh, we saw that you really like seamless co-op. Well, here's like it's not a DLC. I heard it's its own game. And it's Elden Ring's world. It's basically like a soft sequel because it does change the map. It's like
a soft
basically
sequel. It reuses a lot of assets,
and it's
makes it
supposed to
more
like
of a-
lore wise is what happened after the events of Elden Ring, which I don't know what's canon at that point. But
yeah, because
they've never done that
How
before.
you finished Elden Ring.
They've never done that before. They never had a direct sequel in the same map, so we never really had to deal with the consequences of what's canon. We never had that question. Canon was what you did.
Yeah,
so
it looks interesting for the 8 characters. The shrinking map. I like the random bit of it. I'm excited for it, but I'm also like, how randomized can it really be?
Yeah.
Like, what's the how long are you going to be able to play it before it's the same thing over and over?
Because you don't want to make it too random. Because even if it's really that random, that takes away from Elden Ring. You want to have rules that are things that happen all the time because that's just how the game operates.
And did they confirm? Is it only the 3 of you on whatever map you spawn on, or are there other players?
I haven't been keeping up. I think it's mainly meant to be a co-op experience and not a multiplayer experience. Although I do think there's a multiplayer mode, but I think it's meant to be experience co-op. I think the multiplayer mode works similar to an invasion though. So I don't. To me, I think I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the idea of Night Rain, because I feel like seamless. If you want to play with your friends, just play seamless co-op. It works well enough to where that I only ever disconnected once. Just have a host with good internet.
Host with good internet and a good PC.
Yeah, which is usually ends up being me and my friend.
All right, we are past your time allotment. I didn't know if there were any other questions you wanted to get through before you called
we
it
actually.
night.
I mean, there are some questions we didn't answer directly because I announced them, but we just kind of answered them just through dialogue. Thank you for putting me in check because it is 11.
20. Yeah, it's 11:20.
Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah. I'm gonna be so tired.
Because I know when we start going on tangents,
we're not gonna stop. Mm-hmm.
You said you have to go into work in the morning, so I've got to get up and hoping to do a 3 to 4 hour ride tomorrow. So,
jeez. Well, ladies and gentlemen, episode 8 of Talk with Lee. This was Downey. I hope you enjoyed it. We're gonna find a raid target real quickly for us. Let me just pull Windows right here for my YouTube audience. This is where it ends. Say goodbye to Downey. Watch this guy every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. What are the times exactly? Because I know sometimes they're not all the same time.
Let's see here. 8 or 8:30. We'll just stick with
8
that.
or 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ladies and gentlemen. Over on Twitch. You love it. And he loves flashbang. Favorite HUD effects. Use it all the time.